have been struggling big time. They're just 2 games back of the Phillies. The Phillies won their game today in the interleague play. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Steve Phillips and Hall of Famer Joe Morgan. Welcome to Sunday Night Baseball. Going into Wednesday's game in Atlanta, the Yankees were in dire straits. They, and especially A-Rod, were not hitting. They'd lost 9 out of 13. But then they came back to win Wednesday. And Joe, A-Rod has gotten hot in the last 3 games. He's had 7 RBIs.
Well, that just tells you, John, what his presence in the lineup means. Since he's been back May 8th, all of a sudden Teixeira started to hit. Everybody in the lineup started to hit. They had a little lull, but his presence makes everyone in that lineup better. When you look at what A-Rod has done in his career, the last 10 years, he has hit more home runs than any other player in the game. He's driven in more runs than any other player in the game, and he's scored more runs than any other player in the game. And to top that off, on Friday night, he passed Reggie Jackson on the home run list by hitting his 564th home run. So A-Rod is hot, and that makes the Yankees hot. But he's also hot against Livan Hernandez. He has had 11 hits and 19 at-bats against Livan, and he's also hit 3 home runs. And the Yankees have outscored the Mets 29-1 in their last 3 ball games, so it doesn't look good for the Mets tonight.
No, you got no good news for the Mets, do you? And there hasn't been much good news for the Mets. No. They are stricken with injury to start with. 3 of their 4 biggest stars, slugger Carlos Delgado, dynamic leadoff man Jose Reyes, and the multi-talented center fielder Carlos Beltran, all on the disabled list. And Steve, that leaves the all-star third baseman David Wright as the lone musketeer still out there for the Mets.
Well, let's find the good news then for the New York Mets. The good news is that David Wright has been doing everything he can to try to help them win games this year. The power has been hard to come by. He's not hitting the ball out of the ballpark. So instead, he's hitting for average, hitting .346, leading the National League in batting. He's also second in on-base percentage. He's second in stolen bases. He's doing everything he can to try to get this Mets team on the scoreboard, supporting the pitching staff. The reality is this: if the New York Mets win tonight, David Wright will be in the middle of it somehow.
And that's what they need, that's for sure. And Livan Hernandez has pitched well for them. He's 5-2 for the Mets this year. Livan will be up against Chin-Ming Wong, and Wong has had his own problems. You don't want to hear about the Mets' problems. He's had plenty enough of his own, and the Yankees are still hoping that the 2-time 19-game winner will be ready to show his former glory. Livan is all warmed up, ready to go. He'll be facing Derek Jeter. The Subway Series, the final game, 2009, about to begin.
Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by State Farm. At home or away, State Farm is there. Call, click, or visit and start saving today.
Citi Field here in New York. Alex Rodriguez, who just passed us, Joe mentioned, Reggie Jackson on the all-time list of home run sluggers. And let's take a look at the Mets batting order now, presented by, let's start with the Yankees batting order, the visiting team, presented by Taco Bell. Derek Jeter back in the lineup for the first time this weekend after a bout with the flu. He's at short. Nick Swisher, opposite field homer here last night, right field. Mark Teixeira, he's had some flu-like symptoms of late. 20 home runs for the year at first base. A-Rod is at third base hitting cleanup. It'll be Robinson Cano at second base hitting .301. Jorge Posada, also an opposite field homer last night. 10 homers for the year. Melky Cabrera is in left field, switch hitter. It'll be Brett Gardner. He had a 5-hit game here, a career best. On Friday night, he's still a rookie, hitting .293 center field. And Chin-Ming Wong, the Yankees pitcher, batting ninth, and he is still looking for his first major league hit. And Derek Jeter heads to the plate, ready to face 34-year-old Livan Hernandez.
Well, what a savior he's been for the Mets this year. A guy who is very predictable. When you give him the ball, you know what you're going to get. He can take you deep into the game. Throws a lot of strikes. Mixes his pitches up. Tries to keep the hitters off balance. And he's a guy that makes big pitches when he needs to.
Well, the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, with Livan is he has never been on the disabled list. Here's a guy that pitches every day, whenever you give him the ball. He's also had 30 starts or more in his past 11 straight seasons. Only Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine matched that at the beginning of their year.
And you see that batting average with runners in scoring position, 191 batting average. So when the pressure's on, he makes his best pitches.
So here is Livan, who has faced the Yankees once this year, and they roughed him up at Yankee Stadium. The first pitch is very high for ball one. Not unusual to see Livan working behind a hitter. In fact, that's close to the norm for Livan. He's not a hard thrower. He will change speeds in that fastball. Every once in a while, he'll get it up there a little bit better than the 84 at which he's thrown these first two fastballs to Jeter. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count. 69 degrees at game time. A beautiful night here in New York City. And the count goes to 2-1 to Derek Jeter. Livan Hernandez, who was long known as a big game pitcher in his early days with the Florida Marlins, catches the outside corner. Jeter didn't think so. 2-2 the count. Mike Winters is the home plate umpire, calling the balls and strikes.
This will be just the opposite. Last night they had 5 straight hits off Redding. They will not do that against Livan because he will be just on, just off, and the hitters will not attack those pitches.
2-2 the count. That ball is hammered deep left field. That ball is high off the wall. Jeter will make it into second as Tatis gets it back to the infield. A double for Jeter.
Well, every pitch in the at-bat was away, and then he tried to sneak a fastball in under the hands of Jeter, and he wasn't able to do it. See the target inside, he gets it in there, but Jeter is able to handle it because it's not a 90-plus mile-an-hour fastball in there. But a good job by Jeter to be able to pull his hands in and get the barrel of the bat on the ball. And only because this is such a big ballpark, it did not go out.
So Jeter at second, his 15th double of the year. And here is Nick Swisher coming up.
Well, last night Swisher went the other way and hit a home run here off of Redding.
He hit a home run out in this ballpark, really almost any field, but out to left field. That wall is 16 feet high. As Swisher tries to bunt Jeter over and fouls it off. Didn't look like much of a bunter on that one either.
No, you know what? He's a guy that likes to swing the bat, but he's figuring I'm in the 2-hole. Let me try to do what guys in the 2-hole are supposed to do and trying to bunt him over. But Livan Hernandez doesn't have stuff to really get a lot of swings and misses. He tries to let you make contact. I'd rather see Nick Swisher swing the bat and try to pull the ball to advance the runner.
Jeter away from second. And Livan is up and away. No indication of a bunt there. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. To Nick Swisher, who, although he has a low batting average, only .239, he's gotten a lot of walks. His on-base average is .373 and 14 home runs in 230 at-bats. And he gets Jeter over to third. Well, the throw is going to be late. He did get him over, but Daniel Murphy, instead of getting the short out at first base, decided to go after him, and he was a little hesitant in doing it, which kind of shocked me that he still tried for it.
Well, he couldn't get the ball out of his glove right away. That was the problem. He charges, and then he gets it, but see right there he has a double clutch, and once he double clutches, you're not going to be able to get Jeter. But it may have been too late to get Swisher at first. No, he could still get Swishers. Once he double clutch, he had no chance of getting Jeter.
But what about even without the double clutch, Joe? Do you like that play?
No.
I'd rather get the out at first base in that situation.
Try to stay out of the big inning, especially early in the ball game.
The Mets don't have the kind of offense to come back from big innings. They don't have those power bats. They need to limit the runs scored, damage control.
Now the big power hitters are coming up. Here is Teixeira with Alex Rodriguez on deck. Teixeira takes ball one. Teixeira, who has also been slowed down a little bit with some flu-like symptoms for several days, but has not left the lineup at any time. He's got 20 home runs, 58 runs batted in. The middle infield double play death. The big, slow, fluttering curveball drops in there as if wearing a parachute for a called strike. There's A-Rod on deck. The Yankees already with visions of a big inning here. Teixeira, the switch hitter. And a little bit low on the outside. Two balls and a strike now to Mark Teixeira.
I'll tell you, I was wrong on Mark Teixeira. I thought he was a very good player. He's a great player. He doesn't make mistakes in any aspect of the game. He knows what's called upon to get the job done, and he does it.
Now time taken. Teixeira has done his best hitting at the new Yankee Stadium, hitting .313. 13 of his 20 home runs have been hit there. He does have 2 homers in 6 career at-bats against Levon. He squibs that one foul off to the left. 2-2.
Well, let's take a look at the Mets defense. They've already made one mistake. In center field, Fernando Martinez is taking over in the center field. Of course, Carlos Beltran is out. And here are changes in the infield. Alex Cora is playing for Reyes at shortstop. And Daniel Murphy is in place of Carlos Delgado. So 3 of their best players are not in the lineup.
Schneider, the battery mate for Levon Hernandez. 2-2 the count to Teixeira. Jeter, who doubled at third. Swisher, who reached on the fielder's choice at first. And he pops it foul. Got a little extra on that fastball. 86 on the inner part of the plate. 2-2 the count.
That's the thing about Levon Hernandez. He doesn't really have anything that's overpowering, so they put as many balls in play against him as any pitcher in the major leagues. So it's important for him to work his sequence of pitches and change speed so that the hitters, when they do make contact, they're a little bit out in front or a little bit behind.
So Levon will try it again. Still nobody out. 2 men on. That's along the left field line. It's in there. Base hit. Jeter in to score. Into the corner. Tatis digs it out. Heading home. Here is Swisher. And he is going to score. A 2-run double for Mark Teixeira. It's 2-0 Yankees already.
Well, Teixeira he was battling Levon perfectly, and he was going the other way. And Levon makes a pretty good pitch over the outside corner, but because Teixeira wasn't trying to pull it, he slaps it the other way, and that's what you're talking about. He uses the entire field in those situations. Just good hitting there by Teixeira. And again, that one play changed this whole inning. That Danny Murphy, if he'd have taken the guy out at first base, they would have conceded the run, and you pitch a little differently. But once you open the floodgates, as they did yesterday in the second inning, well, Friday night in the second inning, and got behind.
They made the 3 errors in the second inning on Friday, and the Yankees put 4 runs on the board and never looked back. They won that game 9-1 back of their ace, CC Sabathia. So here is Alex Rodriguez. 7 RBIs in the last 3 games, including a couple of home runs. The fastball away. And he has big numbers against Levon. Now, with first base open, certainly he might pitch around it, but there are a lot of other good hitters still to come after A-Rod. Robinson Cano, a lefty, on deck. Then the veteran Posada after him. A-Rod 11 hits in 19 career at-bats against Livan Hernandez with 3 home runs.
Now he's sitting on a 2-0 count as well, and now the first base is open. And the one thing about Livan Hernandez, he's not afraid to walk somebody to try to pitch around him to get to the next guy in the lineup. The problem is this Yankee lineup is a circular lineup.
Circular lineup. Circular. What does that mean?
Well, it means that there's no beginning or end to it. They're all quality hitters. That, you know, a lot of times you look at lineups and, you know, you've got guys at the back end of the order that kind of tail off a little bit, but the Yankees have threats really 1 through 8, even in the National League.
Yeah, but everybody's not 11 for 19 against him, so you better find somebody else to try to get out.
Well, he has walked him on 4 pitches.
Let's take a look at this ground ball to Daniel Murphy at first base. Remember, inexperienced guy. He's been an outfielder, converted to the infield. And as the ball's hit coming into play, he's going to move toward the ball. But you want to get an out in this situation. Watch him move toward the ball, and he gets to it right there. And his momentum's going, but he has to look at the distance that Derek Jeter has. And by the time he double clutches even a little bit, he's got to think about going to first base to get it to Livan Hernandez. There wasn't enough time. Even if he had the initial thought, I'm going to go to third, when he double clutched, he should have stopped and gotten the out at first base.
It does appear, if he'd made that same throw without the double clutch, that he was going to be able to get Jeter. But that was, and that still might have been a mistaken idea.
Well, you take the outs when you're playing the Yankees. You do not give them extra outs. You give them extra outs, you're going to give them a lot of runs. I mean, it's that simple. So,
but if you make that play, you better get him.
Yeah, exactly. But even then, you're not out of the inning is the point, you see.
Cano, with 2 men on, still nobody out. The curveball misses.
I think it's a lot like a base runner should make the first out of the inning at third base. Defensively, you can't try to make that out at third base and not get it and allow that inning to continue to go with nobody out. So you've got to get outs where you can.
Cano has also been struggling with some flu-like symptoms. Says he feels fine now, just with 1 day. He was down with the flu. He also had a sore left wrist. Nice pickup by Castillo. Gets one there. Back to first. And dropped by Murphy. And it looked to me like they would have had him. It would have been a double play.
Well, I tell you what, you can't make the play any better than Castillo did. I mean, he made a great turn. Cora made a great throw. And this ball is hammered in the hole. And he's sliding. Nice play. Now watch, he throws from his knees. And he makes a good throw to Cora. Cora makes a good throw back to first base. And Murphy just doesn't make the play. It looks to me like he has a outfielder's glove at first base. That's an interesting looking glove. That does not look, well, it's a different first baseman's glove anyway.
Well, if he was going to get him by catching that ball, it would have been inches.
Yeah, I think he still had him, John. It was going to be a very, like I said, close play, but I think he would have gotten it.
Now, ordinarily, you cannot charge an error on a double play if you get one out. However, an exception to that is if the first baseman muffs the throw, as the rule book reads. If the runner would have been out at first, difficult to say. He definitely would have been out, although I think in slow motion we can see that he likely would have been out, but even then the umpire might not have called him out. He's not looking at it in slow motion.
They have not given him an error on that play.
You can't anticipate it unless it's just pretty obvious.
Jorge Posada, runners at first and third, 1 out. So really, Livan's already gotten the 3 outs in this inning.
Now, we talked about his damage control with runners in scoring position. He makes pitches, and I mean, Castillo made a terrific play trying to start that double play. But Livan Hernandez makes pitches when he needs to try to get out of jams.
But hitters are hitting 191 with runners in scoring position. That tells you he limits the damage right there.
And off the inside with that fastball, Posada, 10 homers, and only 155 official at bats.
Make you wonder, though, if hitters are hitting 191 with runners in scoring position, why doesn't he take that same mentality of those pitches when he attacks the early part of the lineup to start off an inning?
Well, I think it's not just him, it's the hitters as well. Some hitters hit with runners in scoring position better than they, with runners in scoring position, they don't hit as well as they do with no one on base. I think most hitters' batting averages are higher with no one on base than there are with runners in scoring position. Your great RBI men may be the opposite, and that's why they're great RBI men.
Now, there's something from those numbers that tells me that from the windup and from the stretch, where the base is empty, they're hitting .337 against them, but with runners on and with runners in scoring position, he's from the stretch, and it seems like he makes better pitches from the stretch.
And he almost shockingly picked off Cano. And he did catch him by surprise.
If he'd have thrown that a little harder, I think he would have had him. He didn't throw this as hard as, see, Cano's looking away. He didn't throw it as hard as he could have. He may have had him at first base.
3-1 the count to Posada. Now the double fake, seeing if Cano might perhaps be running on first motion, first movement by the pitcher, but he was not.
Well, it's interesting. You can hit and run with him a lot because, again, you're not going to have a lot of swing throughs. So if you want to put runners in motion, this is the kind of guy you do it against.
Cano is not running, and that is strike two.
And sometimes a manager in those situations do not want to force their hitter to swing at a pitch. Like Levon may not throw you the fastball, which he didn't. He'll throw you something off speed. So you do not want to force your hitter to swing at that pitch. But I think in this situation, 3-2, I think he'll be going.
Teixeira at third, Cano at first. 2 runs in, there goes Cano. Racing in center and making the catch. Fernando Martinez to throw home. Not in time. Teixeira scores run number 3. It is a sacrifice fly for Posada. And the 4th out that Levon, in effect, is induced in this inning.
Well, the tough part is the Mets have not been scoring a lot of runs, although Chien-Ming Wang has been giving up a lot of runs, so maybe, if they can hold the damage here, they'll have a chance to come back.
So 3 runs are in, a sacrifice fly by Posada. Nice play by Fernando Martinez, and a pretty good throw after the long run to catch the ball. And there's ball 1 to Melky Cabrera. Cabrera, a switch hitter, hitting .291, 7 home runs and 28 runs batted in. His ops, a little over 800, above average in the American League. There goes Cano. Schneider's throw, and he is out. Perfect throw. The tag applied by Alex Cora.
Very difficult to steal on Levon Hernandez.
And a nightmarish inning for Levon Hernandez, betrayed by his defense more than once. Yankees 3, Mets coming up. gets ready to lead off. And David Wright will be coming up third. Let's take a look at the Mets batting order. Presented by Taco Bell. Daniel Murphy leads off at first base. Alex Cora at shortstop. David Wright, the league's leading hitter, .346 average, albeit with only 4 home runs. Third base, Gary Sheffield, and he's been an important pickup for the Mets. .273, 9 home runs. Fernando Tatis in left field. He was a late addition. Ryan Church originally in there, scratched from the lineup with flu symptoms. Fernando Martinez, the young center fielder. Brian Schneider, the veteran catcher, hit 7th. Luis Castillo at second base, who almost started a brilliant double play in the top half of this inning. And Livan Hernandez, the pitcher, batting 9th, going up against Chien-Ming Wang, 2 times a 19-game winner for the Yankees. But none of that really has surfaced so far this year. His comeback year from a very serious injury that he sustained just about a year ago.
You see the numbers there, 56 hits in 31 plus innings, so he's been very hittable. Opponents hitting .392 against him. Left-handers really punishing him. Chien-Ming Wang, you want your starting pitcher to go deep in the game, but you see that 7 straight starts with 5 innings or fewer. The bullpen has come into play a lot in his ball games.
Shallow center, and getting there is Gardner.
You know, one of the things that happened between innings here I really like, and it shows the Mets team spirit and that they don't ever quit. This is Livan. He had a tough inning. Here's Brian Schneider, his catcher, coming to him. He's basically saying, hey, man, it wasn't your fault. You did a good job. So he pats him on the back. Now watch this. Livan goes down, goes to Luis Castillo, who made that great play at second base, and he says to him, nice going right there. See that? So that's team spirit, and that's what you need. And I really like that. That really shows me something about the Mets right there.
Here is Alex Cora. 1 out, nobody on. Cora filling in for the injured Jose Reyes. Reyes is the man that gets the Mets energized, the man who ignites the offense. Huge loss, and he's been out for several weeks, and they don't know when he's going to be back. The hamstring, partial hamstring tear, and that is in there for a called strike. The sinker from Wong. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ordinarily we'd see Reyes hitting leadoff. Murphy is the leadoff man tonight, playing first base in place of the injured slugger Carlos Delgado, one of the great sluggers in the National League. And that's too high by Wong. 2-1 the count. There's Jose Reyes. We saw him take batting practice, take some ground balls before the game.
Now, one of the issues for Jose Reyes is that he only knows one speed, and that's 100%. And he thinks that he could come back when he's about 85%. But Jerry Manuel said not until he's 100%, because his legs are such an important part of his game.
And that is too low. 3-1 before the game. Reyes was out on the field doing some drills, doing a little light jogging, and taking ground balls. And he hit. That's the part of the game I miss. He can hit. Ooh, ouch. Cora got drilled.
Well, this is why if you're a Mets player, and it would have been easy for them to say, here we go again. And that's why I thought that dugout scene was so important. But it would be easy to say, here we go again. You know, they've scored 3 runs on us. They scored 29 in the 3 previous games to our 1. But remember, you have Chien-Ming Wang, who is trying to find his way here. And all you have to do is play the game and give yourself some opportunities, and you may be able to score more runs than they will be able to score tonight.
Jerry Manuel, Mets manager, trying to survive these difficult times. And they've been helped out greatly by their brethren in the National League East up till now. Nobody's playing well in the division. It's David Wright fouls one off for strike 1. David Wright leading the National League in batting average, ahead of the Giants' young sensation Pablo Sandoval. 0-1 the count to Wright, but he's not hitting home runs. The ops, the OPS is pretty good. Getting on base a lot, stealing bases. And part of it, I guess, is this new ballpark. This is a big ballpark, and not many home runs have been hit here But Wright has hit 3 of his 4 home runs here. He's only hit 1 home run on the road. Same road ballparks.
Well, they've changed their approach. The Mets got a little bit intimidated by the stadium the first couple weeks of the season, and they're going more toward line drives and hitting to the middle of the field. Talked to Howard Johnson, their hitting coach, and he said David Wright's actually made a mental adjustment. He's not going to look to drive the ball. He's looking to put it in play and looking for base hits, trying to drive it from gap to gap. And that's why the home run numbers aren't there on the road either. It's not like he's using his same approach, and on the road, the ball he should drive, he's cut down his swing both at home and on the road, which makes his strikeouts at 73 this year somewhat surprising.
We saw Howard Johnson, now the hitting coach, looking on from the dugout. 1-2 the count. And that's high and tight for a ball. 2-2.
And watching Chien-Ming Wang so far, he's got velocity. He looks like he's throwing well. But I don't see the movement that he needs because he doesn't throw a lot of curveballs. He doesn't throw a lot of changeups. He gives you a lot of fastballs to hit. And if there's not a lot of movement, these hitters are going to hit it.
Yanks lead 3-0. 2-2 the count with Cora at first. He struck him out with the slider. Foul tipped into the glove of Posada.
Good pitch there from Wong. And David Wright, like most of the hitters, are looking fastball, looking for sinker when he's up there, when he's out there throwing. And that's a good slider because it's not in the strike zone. I've said this a lot of times, but David Wright can handle the slider. He can handle off-speed pitches when they're strikes. When he chases them, when he gets in trouble. If that same pitch is in the strike zone, he would hit it. He'd hit it hard someplace. But he will chase a breaking ball out of the strike zone every once in a while.
2 down, and here comes Gary Sheffield. Sheffield was out there, and the Mets were the team that picked him up. And they're glad to have him now with all of this power missing from the lineup.
Boy, they really need him. I mean, they need his presence to the lineup. No Carlos Beltran, no Carlos Delgado, no real power threat. Gary Sheffield is that power threat. He leads the team in home runs. He's at least somebody that the opposing manager and opposing pitchers have to think about where he is in the lineup.
He chases the slider.
Yeah, but did you see that swing? I mean, he let it go right there. Watch this. He lets it go. This is not a David Wright trying to hit a single in right field. I mean, look at that. He's trying to make up for the fact that this is a big ballpark. And make no mistake about it, if he hits it, it will go out of any ballpark.
Right up the middle, base hit. Cora is going to head to third. And Gardner will throw into second.
Good smart base running there by Cora because it's early in the ball game. You play the way you play that your team plays, going first to third. Now, if you can get a fly ball or whatever, you might, get back in this ball game right away.
Joe saw such a big swing earlier from him, but Sheffield cut down the swing, went back up the middle. Cora never hesitated. Outfield playing kind of deep with Sheffield at the plate. That's knowing where the outfielders are before the pitch goes to the plate.
Sheffield with a single, and here is Fernando Tatis, who was not originally in the lineup. They had the left-handed hitting Ryan Church in there. Church has got flu symptoms, and so Tatis took over for him.
Well, he was great for him last year. Came in and did a great job for the Mets.
He has not had the same success or even close to it so far this year. Sinker a little bit low on the outside. Ball 1. The Mets in the first 2 games of this series had 4 hits total in the 2 games combined and scored once in the 2 games. 1 run and 4 hits in 2 games.
That's not good. That's not good.
Especially when they're down by 3 runs already in this game. But they have a hit already.
Well, they didn't get one last night off of Burnett until the 6th inning.
The last time they had as few as 4 hits in 2 consecutive games, it was 1967. That's when they were still the expansion Mets. They were just starting to be formed into the World Series champion Mets of '69. High in the air, shallow right field, and Swisher. 2 men stranded. Wong and the Yankees lead 3-0.
interleague play, the Subway Series, all New York. Yankees Mets 3-0. So far it's been all Yankees here in the Mets home ballpark this weekend. Livan Hernandez down 3-0. Melky Cabrera leads off, and that is called a strike. Melky was at the plate when Robinson Cano was thrown out trying to steal to end the first inning. And it was kind of merciful for Livan that it ended when it did. He had thrown 29 pitches already in the inning. It looked like he might have crossed up Schneider there. Schneider very awkwardly took a shot at catching that one and missed it. 1-1, although he does not go out to talk to Livan about it. So
I don't think pitch count works with Livan or his brother El Duque. They just pitch till they win or lose.
Well, since 2000, Livan Hernandez has thrown the most innings and the most pitches.
Right.
And he's a guy that he'll stay in there as long as the manager will let him stay in the ball game.
I think the interesting part again for me is that in 11 seasons he has never been on the disabled list. You rarely see that with any starting pitcher.
You could see Schneider boxing that one. Looked like he might have hurt his thumb a little bit too, the way the ball hit the glove. His right goes over to the seats, but the ball is in amongst the spectators, out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Melky Cabrera, Brett Gardner, and then Chin-Ming Wong to follow. And a Yankee fan gets that souvenir.
Speaking of his brother El Duque, he's in the minor leagues pitching now.
What side in Texas?
Yeah, with the Red Wings, with the Red Wings pitching.
3 runs in the first for the Yankees, and although the Mets made mistakes on defense, there were no errors, so all of the runs were earned. First inning, though, has been the bad inning for Livan so far this season. His first inning earned run average through tonight 6.0. For the rest of the game, a much more manageable 3.9. But the Mets have to hope that 3.9 kicks in and maybe goes down a little bit quickly on this night, with 3 already on the board as he strikes out Melky Cabrera. 1 away. Let's go to the studio for Steve Berthiaume with the Sports Center right now. Tigers with a 4-game lead in the American League Central Division. About the time that they announced Jim Leland's contract extension, that's when they got hot. The American League Central, the Tigers with their win today have now won 8 of their last 10. Joe Mauer went into a little bit of a slump for about, 2 days?
Yeah, 2 days.
His average is all the way down to 394. I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm really concerned. Big trade over the weekend. Cardinals make a big acquisition that I think Cubs fans were hoping that their club would make.
I think you can look at Mark DeRosa and try to slot him in somewhere in the Mets field right now. I think there's a lot of teams. Milwaukee Brewers had some interest there as well to possibly play some second base. I think a very valuable guy for the Cardinals. He's a great Tony La Russa player. He's got the versatility, the ability to swing the bat with some pop.
Brett Gardner pops it up. Cora into shallow left. 2 men gone. Monday Night Baseball tomorrow night on ESPN at 7 Eastern. It'll be the Mets and the Brewers. And then on Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice at 7 Eastern on ESPN. The San Francisco Giants, right now with the second best record in all of the National League, they'll be in St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. ESPN News will be shown in both the San Francisco and St. Louis markets. Matt Cain, 9-2 against Adam Wainwright. Pretty good matchup in that Wednesday game. And tomorrow night, Steve, you've got the guy who has sort of been another godsend to the Mets, Fernando Nieve, who is 3-0 for them up against Braden Looper of the Brewers.
Nieve, a guy released by the Astros organization. Mets signed him, and his fastball has been electric so far with the Mets. And look, in order to be a playoff team, you need some surprises during the course of the year. With all of the injuries, the Mets are going to need a few more surprises than the rest of the teams in the league.
Chin-Ming Wong with a count of 2-1, 2 down and nobody on for the Yankees here in the second inning. And Wong, that's hanging, and that is a great catch by Fernando Martinez. Shin-Ming Wong almost had his first major league hit. And this is partly why they're so tough to get in the big leagues. Beautifully done. And Martinez will be coming up when we return. Robbed of a base hit, a game in which he is leading 3-0. It was actually in an interleague game last year, June 15th, after pitching 5 scoreless innings, and he rounded third, running the bases in Houston, and sprained his right foot. He was diagnosed with a torn Lisfranc ligament of the right foot and a partial tear of the peroneus longus of the right foot, and he ended up being out for the rest of the year. And a lot of people thought that was part of the reason that started off so poorly this year, although he seemed to be healthy, but started off very poorly and was clearly not the same. So I'm guessing the Yankees were relieved that he did not get that hit. They're happy that this man, Fernando Martinez, made that great catch. 1 ball and no strikes to Fernando Martinez.
Here's Fernando Martinez in that catch. Great instincts. There are some things you can't teach, and that speed and that ability to feel the ball coming off the bat and where it's going. He took a nice angle to the ball. An outstanding play by the youngster.
And he is truly a youngster, 20 years old.
They have great hopes for him. I mean, he is some kind of athletic player, and they think he can really cover the ground in this expansive center field here at Citi Field. And again, Livan Hernandez patting his teammates on the back.
And that's team spirit. I don't care what anyone says. It's easy to put your head down when you're behind 3-0, but he makes sure that he lets those guys know he appreciates that glove work they're doing out there.
I think Livan was always thought of as a good teammate.
Right.
Wherever he's played. 2-2 the count to Martinez. Brian Schneider on deck. Luis Castillo do third of the inning. Yanks lead 3-0. Straight foul. Now so far Martinez, although we saw his glove work, which is exemplary, with the bat there's been a lot to be desired. He's hitting only 164 in 73 at bats. No homers, 6 batted in. And it's a full count now.
Well, Martinez is one of those 5-tool players that they talk about. And, you know, some of those tools, though, haven't transferred into skills to play the game just yet. So you watch him take batting practice, and he can do some special things. But he hasn't been able to take that into a game and be productive.
3-2 the count. There is A-Rod. And he got it. Nice play.
Well, A-Rod was planning over towards the hole, and he makes a nice play because that's what Fernando Martinez is going to have to do, use his speed. Now watch how quickly he gets up, and he throws a strike to first base. Quick release by A-Rod, and part of that is because he used to be a shortstop, that quick release. He's excited.
Or was that a wince of his hip right there? Was it excitement?
No, I think it's excitement. When you talk to him now, he says that he's okay. He's starting to feel like a baseball player. Before, I think he felt like he was a little more mechanical, but now he's starting to feel it out there in the field and at bat.
Schneider, the catcher. Strike one call.
He was tentative for a little bit, but his mobility defensively, talking to Joe Girardi over the last couple weeks, especially since the 2 days off. They gave Alex Rodriguez a couple days off, and his legs have really come back for him, both offensively and defensively.
I can't believe it took him so long to give him some time off. I mean, this guy was injured. He was out for a long period of time. Comes back, he starts playing, and they put him in there every day.
As a manager, you probably get a little greedy. You might not have been there, but
it's a long season.
A ball and a strike, and it's off the inside at 94, 2-1.
Well, you take a look at this. He dives, comes up with it. And remember, he was a Gold Glove shortstop. Everyone forgets that. And remember, shortstop's the most difficult position on the infield to play.
You know, looking at that replay the last time, I'm wondering if he felt a twinge in that right hip.
It looked like a little bit of a tweak right there. Like he's like, ow, okay, don't anybody see that hurt? Yeah, it's like, ooh. It did look like he might have felt something. Sometimes you have to break through some of the scar tissue that's come in there after you have some sort of procedure done.
Back to the screen, still 2-2 to Schneider. Castillo is on deck. Well, A-Rod gets up in the morning and does about an hour in a swimming pool of rehab work for that hip, unrelated to the kind of baseball work that he was noted for. He's an exhaustive worker in terms of batting practice and fielding practice and that sort of thing. He's just getting ready for a game every night. But he's cut back on that at the doctor's recommendation. He's just going to take his 10 swings a night in the batting cage with everybody else. He used to take 100 swings before batting practice to get himself ready just for batting practice.
I'm tired just from your explanation of his workout.
I guess you have to give me a minute.
Let me catch my breath over here.
I mean, we talked about his presence in the lineup, and you can see since he's been back, they have the best record in the league. Look at that. I mean, he came back, and they just got started. I mean, and that's not a coincidence. Teixeira started hitting better, and he's just a presence. He's a special presence. There are only very few players that can have the presence in the lineup that he brings with him.
3-2 the count. And that's a walk. So 1 out. Schneider gets the walk. And the batter will be Castillo. I want to thank the MetLife Blimp for providing tonight's MLB coverage. MetLife provides the guarantees you need for the most important ifs in your life. Visit MetLife.com today. One out here is Castillo. Switch hitter. 278 average. And ball one. One thing about A-Rod, the pool work that he's done. Because when he had this surgery, they said that it was not going to be the full Monty surgery for this hip affliction. That he was going to have to wait till the season was over and have the full thing. And he said that the doctor now is telling him it could be that, and they won't know until the season is over, at least much further down the road from now, that this work he's doing in the pool, that kind of rehab work, that alone might be enough, and he might not need this more extensive surgery.
That would certainly be a relief for the Yankees, that major investment that they have in him, because every time you go into a joint, you never know what's going to happen when you come back out.
Here's Cano. Get the lead runner, and no chance to double up Castillo, who still moves pretty well. Ball was not hit very hard. 2 down.
Well, you talk about Chien-Ming Wang, and it's obviously been a tough start to the season, but his last 4 starts after they put him on the disabled list, brought him back in the bullpen, and then back into the rotation, his velocity has picked up. He was 90 to 92 in his first 3 starts. The last 4 starts, the fastball close to 94, at times 95. But it's not just the velocity, it's the sink on the fastball. So as we watch him tonight in the K zone, we want to see if he's pounding the bottom of K zone with that sinker.
Livan Hernandez, who at one time was renowned as an excellent hitter. Derek Jeter over to Cano for the force out on Castillo. 1 pitch and the out. The inning is over. 2 shutout innings for Chien-Ming Wang. Top of the order coming up. Jeter, Swisher, Teixeira. A-Rod would be coming up 4th. 3-0 Yankees.
Chevy and Hotels.com, the smarter way to book.
And here we go into the Yankees' 3rd inning. I'm John Miller with Hall of Famer Joe Morgan, also Steve Phillips. And Derek Jeter, who started that 3-run first inning rally with a double high off the 16-foot high wall in left field. He takes ball 1 from Livan Hernandez. Jeter turned 35 on Friday and was not really able to celebrate a whole lot, either on the field or otherwise. He was down with the flu. He missed yesterday's game as well. Back in the lineup tonight. Asked him how he felt. Great. Although Joe Girardi said, "Do you hear how he said that?" Great. So he doesn't sound great, but he's looked great so far in this game. Slider, and it's 2-1.
But by the age of 35, Derek Jeter had more hits by his 35th birthday than Pete Rose had at his 35th birthday. I really think Jeter, if he continues to stay healthy, has a chance at 4,000 hits before it's all said and done.
No.
You don't think so?
No way. You got to remember Pete was getting 200 plus hits late, in his career. I think that's great. You look at Hank Aaron and Robin Yount. They also were ahead of Pete, especially Robin Yount, because Robin was very young when he started out. I mean, I think he has the ability to do it.
Fernando Martinez on a line drive. Jeter, well, he didn't add to his total right there.
That's the one that's going to make him come up short now.
But to be able to play shortstop and get that many at-bats is what's going to be the problem. Remember, Pete Rose was a first baseman. He was, he was at the end of his career where he could just stay there and hit and hit and hit. If you're a shortstop, it's too difficult.
But he's probably got to change positions at some point as well. The one thing that Derek Jeter does, he wins baseball games. You see right there, at the age of 35, look at the wins he's accumulated in his career. And that's a pretty good group of players to be lumped with.
And that's by the age of 35.
Right.
Only Brooksy, Mickey Mantle on that list ahead of him.
I think the problem you have, if you're a shortstop, I find it difficult to think that Jeter's going to play another position. I remember Ozzie Smith. He was a shortstop. He came in as a shortstop, and he remained a shortstop. I mean, I think it's difficult. Once you're a shortstop, it's difficult for you to go play someplace else. That's why I give A-Rod all the credit in the world for moving from shortstop to third base. All the things that have been written about him, no one seems to write about that. He did not want to move from shortstop. He did it so he could try to win a championship, etc. I'm just not sure that a guy like Jeter, who's played shortstop his entire career, is going to want to go play some other position.
So we're on to Swisher.
I think it's going to be an interesting decision for the Yankees when Derek Jeter's contract comes up, because I think most people who watch him on a regular basis think that his range has been compromised a little bit. He doesn't cover as much ground as he has in the past. And the likelihood is that a position change is in the offing. Whether it's 2 years from now, 3 years from now, he's going to have to move somewhere else.
Well, Pete Rose was a man of many positions.
Right. But he ended up playing a lot of first base when he was chasing Ty Cobb. See, that's what I mean. Now, if Jeter wants to go play first base, he may make it.
Yeah, maybe Mark Teixeira will move to shortstop.
Well, now you're getting my point.
That ball is hit a mile down the right field line and foul. A magnificent foul by Nick Swisher.
Well, that is the one issue for the Yankees. They've kind of blocked that position. Now, whether he can play the outfield or not is a question. We don't know that. Whether second base could be a possibility for him or not, another question.
Robin Yount was a great shortstop and moved to center field with the Brewers. Hit hard by Swisher into the glove of Gary Sheffield in right center. 2 men gone in the Yankee third. So those Hank Aaron at one time in the very, very early days was a middle infielder.
Second base.
And ended up becoming a fixture in right field. Brooks Robinson started at third, played at third, finished at third. In fact, I think if we saw him tonight later on, he'd be at third base somewhere.
Exactly. And Jeter started at short, will finish at short.
So you don't see a position change?
No. Well, look, they blocked the one position I think is a natural, and that's first base because he's tall and he could play that position. But Teixeira is there now. I don't see him moving to second base. I mean, even though Cano is there, but I don't see him moving.
Teixeira, who hit a 2-run double his first time, is out this time. 3 up and 3 down. It'll be the top of the order with David Wright coming up third for the Mets against Chien-Ming Wang. The Mets are trailing 3-0. Yankees on top.
John, let's take a look at Chien-Ming Wang in 2007 when he was an ace. And you're going to see the difference. Look at the stitching on the ball. You're going to see it in the same spot in these sinkers. Look at that. You can see it in rotation. It's going to be in the same spot. That means he's grasping the ball the same and he's getting the same movement. Look at all that great movement. That when the stitching is on top, that means the ball is turning over that way and it's sinking. And you can see all the movement down low. he doesn't have that same movement now that he had anymore. That was on the night he had 10 Ks against the Mets. That was when he was at his best. But you can see it. I can see it, and I hope the fans at home could see it. The red stitching on top of the ball was always in the same spot, and that allowed it to dive down and away from left-handed hitters. And let's take a look at tonight. He's got a good sinker going, but it's not the same type of sinker we saw in the 2007. See, that ball is moving, but it's not diving. There's a difference. See, those balls are staying there. The hitters are still hitting on top, so he's getting, the ball down in the strike zone. If he gets those pitches up above the belt, they're going to get hit. Not the same movement that he had in 2007.
There's Daniel Murphy to lead off against him. And that is too low. 1 ball and no strikes. Alex Cora and David Wright to follow. Murphy flied out to shallow center. His first time. With all of their stars in there, the Mets, the last 3-4 years have been one of the most prolific and most feared offensive teams in the National League. But without their great leadoff man Reyes and sluggers like Beltran and Delgado and David Wright, who is now hitting more like a leadoff hitter. He's stealing bases. He's leading the league in hitting. He's got the high on-base percentage, but he's not hitting with home runs. Suddenly, this Mets ball club is scratching and clawing its way toward runs, and they've only scored 1 so far in this weekend series. That's a strikeout, and Posada throws him out. Teixeira with the putout.
If you take those 3 hitters, Beltran, Delgado, and Reyes out of the lineup, and you take Jeter, A-Rod, and say Teixeira out of the lineup, look what the Yankees would look like. So it's very difficult to replace those types of guys. You're talking about superstars. You're talking about guys who make the all-star team every year. You're not just talking about everyday players. You're talking about all-stars, and they've lost them, and all of a sudden they've got to play without them. I mean, that's a difficult thing to do. And you take those 3 guys, the top 3 hitters, 3 of the 4 best hitters out of any lineup, and they will suffer just like the Mets have.
Absolutely. Most teams, I think, would suffer more.
Yeah, exactly.
Than what the Mets. The Yankees have other hitters who are still good hitters who could be hitting 3rd, 4th, and 5th, who are hitting 6th, 7th, and 8th for them, but they might feel it. They would definitely feel it big time, but probably less than the Mets or most other teams.
A lot of people have gotten on General Manager Omar Minaya that he should have anticipated and had more depth built in, but you don't add bench players to replace your 3, 4, and 5 hitters in your lineup.
Well, now they won't make that mistake again.
I guess. Well, you know what? I mean, the Yankees have that ability where they might be able to go out in the trade market and just trade to replace guys. They can look at players more as disposable players than anybody else because of the payroll that they're able to afford, the revenues that they generate.
2-0 the count to Cora, hit by a pitch his first time, and Wong gets that one in there for a strike.
And where you see the impact of it is it's not just in the lineup, but we see Daniel Murphy at first base misplay a couple of balls in this game. We saw Nick Evans in the Friday night game filling in, misplayed a ball at first base. So it impacts the game in a lot of different ways.
And 3-1. That sinker had a little dive to it.
Well, the pitch before, when he struck Murphy out, had some movement as well.
3-1 the count to Alex Cora. Just trying to get on base in front of David Wright here, with Wright, then Sheffield. The next 2 hitters do. 3-0. The Yankees are leading. And he does get himself aboard.
Well, there have been 74 games. And if you look at those, the dates they were out, Delgado has missed 48 games, Reyes has missed 38, and Beltran has missed 12. And they're missing some guys out of their bullpen. And starter John Maine, who I thought was going to be, this was going to be a big year for him. Oliver Perez, of course, and J.J. Putz. I mean, they brought him over to solidify the late inning bullpen, and now he's gone. But K-Rod is still there, and he's still doing a great job.
It's a tale of woe. Dickensian proportions. Jeter gets one. Cano to first. Double play. David Wright hits into a pair, and the Yankees shining on defense there Jeter getting it started with the backhanded throw and a quick turn there by Cano. A-Rod coming up when we return. Series rolls on with the Subway Jalapeno 250 at Daytona. Coverage begins on ESPN Friday night with NASCAR Countdown at 7:30 Eastern. Check it out on ESPN and ESPN HD. Here we go to the fourth inning. The Yankees ahead 3-0. Alex Rodriguez fouls one away. Now, a little earlier, talking about Derek Jeter, who's rising in the hit total. He's got more hits at age 35 than Pete Rose had. And Steve offered the opinion that someday soon, Jeter would probably have to move from shortstop to another position. There's a ball off the outside. And Joe said, well, the most natural position would be first, and Teixeira's over there already. But I have what I think is just a genius solution.
If you say so yourself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. When do you hear this?
This is a nice setup right here. I want to hear it now.
All right, now, because you also, Joe, you pointed out how A-Rod had changed. He was the Gold Glove shortstop, and when he came to the Yankees, he moved from short to third. So, now consider this.
I hope you're not going.
Cal Ripken was a great shortstop, won Gold Gloves. Moved late in his career to third base.
Right.
That worked out beautifully. He was an excellent third baseman. Jeter moves to third, and Alex moves again.
Can't.
What do you think?
No. Alex, I don't think can play shortstop anymore.
No, he doesn't move to short. I'm not talking about him moving to short.
Where do you move him?
Where are you going to move him?
In the outfield.
Alex has the 10-year deal, doesn't he?
Think about it. He's rising on the home run charts, right?
Yeah.
The great position for the Yankees is center field. Put him in center.
Well,
I thought of that myself.
Okay.
You did.
Okay. Well, you handle that.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think. No.
Okay. Now we're in agreement there.
I actually think Derek Jeter is going to end up either left field or right field when it's all said and done. I think he will end up moving because I think he's going to recognize for the team he's going to need to do it.
Base hit. Just like the Mick used to do it.
And now he's 12 for 20 off of Levon.
He walked his first time tonight.
Well, one of the reasons that a guy hits so well against a certain pitcher is he sees the ball well, and the pitcher makes a lot of mistakes against him. You see that little breaking ball right there in the middle of the plate, and A-Rod just stays there and drives it right back through the middle for a base hit.
That's almost a victory for Levon against Alex.
Keep him in the park.
12 hits and 20 at bats, 8 of them extra base hits. That's only the 4th time he's ever hit a single against it. But here is Robinson Cano, hit into a force play his first time, nearly a double play. Levon steps off the slab. I'm just making my own little joke there.
Okay, I'm glad it was a joke, but hey, you know.
No, but listen, you're going to have to be creative. So you're thinking like a general manager, John.
Yeah.
You have to be creative.
So in theory, the only place he could really move would be to left field. Jeter. That's the easiest of the outfield positions to play.
You think Jeter?
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I said maybe right is the short porch in right field at Yankee Stadium.
It's big. That field is big.
Yeah, but it's a tougher position to right field because of all curves and there's so much going on out there.
Well, I'm enjoying him at shortstop. He made a beautiful play to double up David Wright to end the Mets' 3rd inning. And this could be a double play. Backhanded to second one. Cora to first. Double play.
And you can see Alex Rodriguez running outside of the line there. You do not want to hit the ground too often, you know, with the hip being the problem for him in the past.
When this inning is over, we will go to a commercial break for 60 seconds, and then we'll come back to visit with Joe Girardi, Yankee manager, from the Yankee dugout. So stay tuned for that. We will visit with Jerry Manuel from the Mets dugout after the Mets bat in the last half of the 4th inning. Here is Jorge Posada. Did a sacrifice fly his first time. Just off the outside. 1 ball and no strikes. 3-0. The Yankees with a 3-run first inning against Levon Hernandez. Chin-Ming Wong has shut down the Mets for 3 on 1 hit. Chin-Ming Wong, who has not gone more than 5 innings in a start. 7 straight starts going 5 innings.
Joe Girardi said he would have gone deeper into the game against the Braves last time out, but he had to pinch hit for him. He only had 60+ pitches in that game, but in the National League they were down 3-0, had a chance to maybe get on the board, so he ended up having a pinch hit for Wong. But they're pleased. They think he's progressing, and it's been baby steps. Somebody was hoping he would just all of a sudden be right again.
Right to Castillo. Posada retired. Another strong inning for Levon Hernandez. We'll be visiting with that man, the Yankee manager Joe Girardi, from the dugout in 60 seconds. Three Mets nothing. And we welcome Yankee manager Joe Girardi from the Yankee dugout to Sunday Night Baseball. Joe, many thanks.
Thanks, John. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well.
Joe, you guys were struggling a little bit. You got hot in Atlanta, and you carried it on through here with the Mets. What turned things around for your offense?
You know, there's really no secret. I mean, at times your offense is going to struggle, and it just seemed like Cervelli had a big home run that tied up the game in that game and made it 1-1, and then our offense kind of took over after that. And I've said all along, there's too many good hitters in this lineup to struggle for too long.
Joe, Chin-Ming Wong looks like he's at least shutting down the Mets so far tonight. What are you seeing from the dugout with his performance?
Well, he's getting in some long counts, and I prefer some shorter counts and getting a few more ground balls early in the count because you don't want to show him all your pitches all the time. But so far, he got a big double play there in the last inning, and he hasn't given up any runs. So far, so good.
Hey, Joe, in the second inning, Alex Rodriguez made a diving play to get a ball hit by Fernando Martinez. Got up, threw him out. Nice play. But we thought maybe we saw him wince a little bit, show some pain. Did you notice anything there?
No, I didn't, and I'm sure he would have said something to us. He's been moving a lot better at third base, and we've been really pleased with his defense.
All right, Joe, many thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, man.
Joe Girardi, manager of the Yankees. So there was nothing reported in the dugout, apparently, about any undue pain.
Guys don't go and complain all the time now.
I mean, Alex Rodriguez played 37 straight games without a rest after coming back from his hip. He's not going to say anything.
Gary Sheffield, the hitter, hitting cleanup for the Mets tonight, and a fastball to the inside for a called strike from Chien-Ming Wang. Sheffield hit a single to center his first time. The infield is swung around toward the third base side. Not an overshift, but they want to try and cover up that middle if they can with the second baseman, Robinson Cano. 1 ball and 1 strike to Sheffield. 40 years old, and he was without a job. And the Mets really didn't have a job for him other than as a pinch hitter, an extra outfielder. That's a foul. But once the injury started to hit, Sheffield became more and more a fixture in that lineup.
Well, he's the only guy that they can put in the middle of this lineup to be Alex Rodriguez, so to speak, a guy that has a presence, a guy that maybe scares the opposition, because Sheffield does not go up there trying to hit a single to right field on the first couple of pitches. He's letting it all go.
Closing in on one of the all-time great home run sluggers, Mel Ott, who also played here in New York with the old Giants when they played at the Polo Grounds. 3 home runs away from him on the all-time list. 2-2 to Sheffield. Fernando Tatis and then Fernando Martinez to follow against Chien-Ming Wang. Only allowed 1 hit so far. And that came up and hit him. And we were talking with Joe Girardi about A-Rod. We thought maybe A-Rod was showing a little evidence of experiencing some pain after making a diving play on the ground ball hit by Fernando Martinez. But Girardi said he did not notice it, and A-Rod did not come in and mention anything about it. 2-2 the count to Sheffield. And a full count now, 3-2.
You want me to Twitter him and see what's going on?
Now that is,
I actually want to watch that.
Now that's a good idea.
Would you make a paper airplane and throw it off the booth, hope that it lands in the dugout? If you're tweeting or Twittering, I got to see this.
And it's a walk for Sheffield. We were talking about A-Rod, and this was the play. A-Rod sliding hard into second base, trying to break up the double play. Then he made that diving play on Martinez. Now afterward, it looked like it does. The more you look at it, the more it looks like he was smarting a little bit, and there too even. And then you got a base hit there, and no limping or anything.
Well, the guy's not 100% healthy. We know that. So there's going to be sometimes when he's off balance or something, he's going to have to show a little limp when he runs or when he slides.
So let me ask you this. How often during the season are you 100%? I mean, you show up to spring training, you might be 100%, but after that, do you ever feel good during the season?
Yeah, I think the first month you're okay as an everyday player. I've talked to great pitchers, Bob Gibson, some of those guys said out of 38 starts or something, he only felt good the first 4 or something like that. And I think it does, if you're a guy like the steals bases, it takes its toll. Just diving back into first base, stealing bases. So, I mean, it takes its toll being an everyday player. That's why some guys can do it, other guys can only be, extra.
And I think that's some of the worries that the Mets have about some of their players that are playing more regularly now, that the Alex Cores of the world, that they're going to run out of gas a little bit. But 162 games in 181 days. And then we talk about Alex Rodriguez, all of the extra work that he was doing. You can understand why they've asked him to pull back a little bit and save his strength for the on-field game situations.
Sheffield back to the bag at first. Fernando Tatis, the hitter.
We've been talking about all the injuries just to the Mets, but if you look around baseball, injuries everywhere. And I've always said the thing that impresses me the most about the players today is that they work so hard to stay in shape all year round. It wasn't like that before. Players got in shape in spring training and then tried to continue to play. But now guys stay in shape all year round. And I'm just shocked that there are so many injuries because these guys do work so hard to keep themselves in good shape.
Well, there seems to be a rash of these hip injuries, the kind of injury that A-Rod suffered, and Mike Lowell has had the similar problem.
Delgado.
Carlos Delgado. Chase Utley had surgery after the World Series last year. And a lot of people wondering what's with all these hip injuries. New York Times did an article about it, talking to lots of doctors and specialists. That is foul as A-Rod goes after it. But there were some who feel that maybe all of that working out, the weight work and whatnot, maybe that is something that has occurred, especially this hip injury, that although they're getting themselves in great shape otherwise and building muscle and so on and so forth, and even if it's in great baseball shape, that it could be that, ironically, that there are some problems that on some of the joints, like the hip joint.
Almost get wound too tight to be able to sustain the rigors of everything you have to go through in the season.
That wasn't the medical explanation.
Yeah.
I was sort of, just trying to speak in a way that everybody else who is a non-medical person would be able to understand.
He's talking down to us. I think that's what he was doing.
Okay.
Thanks, I think.
I have a theory.
2-2 the count to Tatis. Check swing foul.
My theory was given to me by a great track coach. He said, if you think about when track runners, they try to get themselves in shape so that they're right there for the Olympics at their peak, right? So you're not peaking here, you're peaking there. He told me that once you peak, there's only one way you can go, and that's down. And again, sometimes players get in shape in the off season, work all year, and at some point you have to start down. I mean, that was his theory on getting in shape and staying in shape.
I thought
the body has to rest. Well,
I thought it was your theory.
No, it was. I'm bringing it to you, but he gave it to me.
There could well be something to that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The track coach. I mean, that was his theory.
The track, you get ready for the Olympics.
Exactly.
Or the big international event. The trials. As A-Rod throws out Tatis and over to second goes Sheffield. Baseball is a different kind of shape.
Yeah. Well, that's why.
But then you have to every day
rigors of
turmoil on your body.
On your body and playing every day like that. So I believed what he said. I mean, he always made sure that when the season was over that I would rest. I would rest up until December, day after Christmas, then you start working out a little bit. I've talked to a lot of guys here. They take like 2 days off and they're right back at it. So it doesn't mean that that's the problem, but that's one of the things that he told me. Once you get to a peak, there's only one way that you can go, and that's down.
Here's Fernando Martinez. Runner at second. 1 out. Along the left field line. Melky Cabrera. It's off the wall. He's going to have to chase the Karen. The center fielder Gardner picks it up. Scoring is Sheffield. Martinez holds on with a double. 3-1 Yankees.
I noticed yesterday, I was watching the game on last night, and Robinson Cano on a hit and run, he hit a ball down the left field line like that. The ball really carried, and it hit the base of the wall, and I thought it was just a fly ball. Well, this ball just continues to go, and as I said before, when he gets the ball up in the zone now, he's going to get hit because he doesn't have the sink on it. See, that ball doesn't sink as well as the ones we're showing you in 2007. That ball is up, and he drills it off the left field wall. But the ball apparently carries better at that spot right down the line than it does out in the alleys.
Here's Schneider, and he's a little over anxious right there. On the count. Usually with a sinker ball, the idea is comes in at the knees, don't swing at it. Right. It's going to dip down below.
But I think Wong is throwing two different types of fastballs. He's throwing the maybe I don't say four-seamer, but the one that's not sinking nearly as much. And then he's throwing the one that's down low when it does sink well.
Well, that was a changeup right there, and he really hasn't had a feel for the changeup. It seems like every time he wants to throw that to a left-handed hitter, he holds on to it too long and he bounces into the plate. So as a hitter, Joe, you've got to eliminate that pitch right now and look for that fastball.
If I was hitting against Wong, I would eliminate every pitch but the fastball. And then, like you're saying, you got to make, as John was saying, you got to make it be above your thigh, or otherwise it's going to be too low.
Well, that was up above and handled by Cano. Over to third goes Fernando Martinez. 2 down.
But another fastball after trying to throw a changeup. Let's take a look at 3 different fastballs that he's thrown so far in this ball game, and I think you'll see what I'm talking about. See, that ball didn't move at all, right in the middle of the plate. That one had a little sink, not much. That one very little. And that's why I said if he continues to get the ball up there, the Mets would have a chance of coming back in this ball game, because he is not doesn't have the dominant sinker that we've seen in the past.
These numbers include early in the year when he couldn't get anybody out. His ERA was over 36 at one point. Castillo, with the pitcher up next, takes a called strike.
Big at bat here, because if the Mets can somehow score this, get Martinez in, this is a different ball game.
Alex Rodriguez playing in close at third base because Castillo a threat to bunt even with 2 outs. A chance maybe to bunt for a base hit and pick up that run.
That's a base hit right past the bag. Martinez scores. Castillo with a big turn. He's going to hold as Cabrera fires into second. But he picks up that run with the pitcher coming up next, and that one hurts if you're the Yankees.
Well, watch where the pitch is, Steve.
Ball away here, but this was really, I think, because of the threat of the bunt with Alex Rodriguez being in. That fastball up in the zone and away. Castillo doing a good job getting on top of it and slapping it right down the line right there. But because Rodriguez had to at least honor the threat of the bunt, he has no chance to be able to make a play on that ball. But good piece of hitting by Castillo. But again, the sinker ball, the fastball up in the zone. Chien-Ming Wang is ahead in this game, but he is not making quality pitches.
Here is Livan Hernandez. There goes Castillo. And the throw down. He steals it and almost overshot his mark.
Well, John, it appeared that he wasn't going to slide. He was going to go in standing up, and then he just kind of fell on the ground. I don't know exactly what he thought was going on. Maybe he thought Posada wasn't going to throw. Watch. Now, he doesn't start to slide. Look at this. He's just going straight in. Now he just falls down to the ground. Very unusual, but he was lucky that he was able to keep his hand on the bag.
Unusual, that may be one of a kind. Jeter from the hole. Livan not a fast runner, and that ends the inning. We will visit with Mets manager Jerry Manuel from the Mets dugout in 60 seconds. It's now 3-2. The Yankees lead the Mets. And we are pleased to be joined now by Mets manager Jerry Manuel from the Mets dugout. Welcome, Jerry.
How you guys doing?
Hey, Jerry, I'm noticing you guys have not played well the last couple of days, yet I'm seeing the enthusiasm in the dugout. How are you keeping these guys going like that?
Well, that's part of the intangibles, Joe, that when you're not playing well, that you got to make sure you add or mix those types of things in. I think coaching staff has done a tremendous job, and the players that we have are doing a tremendous job. It's very important and very critical at this stage
that we should remain positive. I mean, that's the only way we can handle this particular situation we're in at this point.
Jerry, Livan Hernandez bent a little bit in the first inning, but it looks like he's regrouped. What have you seen from him so far?
Well, Livan's greatest asset is off speed, keeping people off balance. And I think what he does is, I think if he gets behind, he gets you to be a little anxious, and he takes a little off here or there, and he commanding those pitches a little better.
Jerry, we're going to let you get back to work.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jerry Manuel, manager of the Mets, and appreciate Jerry and Joe Girardi both coming on with us during the ball game. Inning number 5, Melky Cabrera, the 7th place hitter, will lead off here for the Yankees. Now, this is an important inning for Livan, especially now that they've projected themselves back into the game. They had got a long time without scoring a run. They'd only scored 1 run in the first 2 games of the series all told, much less 2 in 1 inning like that. A huge rally for the Mets here as of the last few days.
Well, I think it's so critical to put a 0 up on the scoreboard right here. You put up a couple runs, you've got some momentum. Try to have a quick inning. Get your team back in there. You've got the bottom part of the lineup here for the Yankees.
That is foul.
You know, Jerry Manuel talked about Livan Hernandez, the adjustment that he's made. Well, the adjustment's been that when he's been behind in the count, he has used the Yankees hitters' aggressiveness against them a little bit, going to the slider. So he's been behind in the count, gone to the slider to be able to get big outs when he's needed them. His breaking ball is such a big part of his arsenal to be able to use those off-speed pitches to get hitters off the fastball. As you've seen with the radar gun, 86 miles per hour with the fastball, so nothing overpowering with that.
The one thing I haven't seen from him tonight is that big overhand curveball a lot. We saw a real slow one that John described, but we haven't seen a lot of curveballs, just overhand curveballs.
Our radar gun, I don't think, was equipped to register a true speed as slow as that one came in. That sinker low and outside. It's a full count. By the way, we're talking about the Mets and their 2-run inning. They had gone 24 innings since they last scored as many as 2 runs in an inning. That was against the Cardinals earlier this week. That ball is hit deep in the right center field. Sheffield, he gets there.
Wow. Well, the ball fooled him at first, John, because he started across instead of back. But that's a big part of the ballpark right there.
Now, 3-2 count to Melky Cabrera, and we talked about it. Livan Hernandez went to the slider, but it was up in the zone. And Melky Cabrera was able to stay back and drive this ball, but unfortunately he drove it to the deepest part. But here's what we're talking about with Livan Hernandez. When he's behind in the count, 3-1 count, slider. 3-2 count, going to the breaking ball. To Alex Rodriguez, a little bit of a rolling curveball right there. So the off-speed pitches, that's a confident pitcher. To be able to have the confidence in your secondary pitches when you're behind in the count to go to that pitch, absolutely critical.
Brett Gardner up there now. Popped up to short his first time. And the ball up and away. Well, the Yankees had that 3-run first inning rally. And since the first inning, only 1 man has reached base. That was Alex Rodriguez, who led off the 4th inning with a single and then was promptly wiped out on a double play ball. So Livan has had them at his mercy since that first inning. And that first inning probably should have just been 1 run scoring. The defense had come through.
The ball Melky Cabrera hit out to that gap is one of those ones where Mets players are saying, see, I told you so, because I think at Yankee Stadium, that ball's long gone. That's a home run at Yankee Stadium, the old one or the new one.
Yeah, but that's out there near the 415 mark. I mean, that's probably the deepest part of the ballpark. So it's, I mean, that's a long way out there. I mean, this ball is hit, this is not straightaway right field. See, there's 415 out there where he's running it down. And that's a big part of the ballpark, when it's, especially if it's not straightaway center field.
Greg Sheffield did a good job tracking that ball, and you can see by watching his eyes, he kept his head still. Outfielders run on their toes, be able to keep their head from bouncing and continue to track the ball. And take a look at that. I mean, this is you see the dimensions out in right field there, and no man's land. I asked Alex Cora where David Wright's power went. He said right there. He said it's an awfully long way to hit that ball out of the ballpark.
Chen Ming Wong pops it in the air. Livan's got it. He gets the lead runner and back to first. It's a double play.
LeVon is one of the best fielding pitchers in baseball. He doesn't look like a great athlete, but he is an excellent fielding pitcher.
Well, he proved your point right there. Short hopped it. Got the lead runner. Cora got the trailing runner. The Mets at the top of their order coming up. Wright due up third.
Him.
Here come the Mets, top of the order against Chin-Ming Wong. 3-2, the Yankees are leading. Daniel Murphy has flied out to shallow center and struck out. Livan Hernandez keeping the Mets in the game with his pitching and then with his defense. A brilliant start of a double play. And how many times do you see where a ball could be caught, especially in a bunt, and it gets caught, but if they let it drop, they could easily start a double play. Now, I don't know that that one was going to be catchable one way or the other, but Livan played it beautifully.
Definitely. Well, he doesn't look like a great athlete because of his size, but he is a very good fielding pitcher. And watch, he catches this on a short hop. Now he turns into an infielder. He throws like a shortstop. Perfect throw. If that throw is not perfect, it would not have been a double play. Now watch, he throws it. Chin-Ming Wong does the right thing. You have to allow the fielder to make the play. Before you cannot run into him while he's throwing the ball to second base.
You know, we don't often talk about pitchers as baseball players like a Dustin Pedroia. Livan Hernandez is a baseball player. He has great instincts for how the game is supposed to be played. It's not just about pitching. He fields his position. He can handle the bat. He does all the things you want a National League pitcher to do to be successful.
A ball and 2 strikes, and that is fouled by Daniel Murphy. Murphy's one of those guys right now wants a hit big time. He wants one bad. He had some misadventures defensively in that first inning.
John, you know, I'm thinking about that play again. I'm not so sure that Chin-Ming Wong could not hit Livan once he fields the ball. You can't interfere with him fielding it.
So you've thrown it.
Yeah, once he's
now
thrown
you're in his way. You're
exactly.
in the runner's way.
Exactly.
You're obstructing the runner.
Right.
So if he'd gone ahead and
run into him, right.
After he's thrown it, maybe he gets awarded first base.
Yeah. But you have to allow the fielder.
We need Joe West.
He'll call me. But anyway, you have to allow the fielder a chance to field the ball, but you do not have to allow him a chance to make the throw.
2-2 the count to Murphy. Battling it out here with Chin-Ming Wong. Strike 3 call on the inside. Out number 1. And we're going to go to the studio to Steve Berthiaume for the Sports Center right now. Wow. Well, we saw that in a Sunday night game happen against the Yankees, against Andy Pettit. Posada was catching, and Jacoby Ellsbury at Fenway Park, no less, is the man who picked him clean. But Scherzer's a right-hander. Usually you see that with a left-hander.
Yep.
And he was working, looked like he was working for the windup. Was that the windup? I thought he was working for the windup, and he stole it.
Well, John, I was watching the soccer match today, and I thought we had it. You know, we were 2-0 at halftime. The most important couple of minutes was right after the halftime. Brazil scored. That changed the whole game right there. And then they just kept firing away, and they finally got a header, you know, to win it. It was a great game. USA played very, very well, especially the first half.
They had upset the heavily favored Spain national team, the Spanish national team, ranked number 1 in the world. And I'm talking about not just this world. All the world.
Soccer world.
That was impressive.
Did you see that beautiful header? Did you see that beautiful trophy, though? They showed it earlier. Trophy. Yeah, they showed it earlier. Fabulous.
The World Cup will be coming up next year and will be on ESPN. What was going on there with Posada? They were pointing towards the Mets dugout.
Well, he was running down the line to back up the throw, but I don't know if it was the Mets dugout or someone in the stands, but he was pointing over that direction.
Here's David Wright, who has struck out, grounded into an inning-ending double play. 2 down, nobody on. The Mets are down by a run, 3-2. Slide ball in their first strike. Slide piece.
Well, you know, David Wright is now 0 for 10, John, in this series. He was 0 for 4 Friday night, 0 for 4 Saturday. He's 0 for 2 in this ball game. So he is actually 0 for 11 overall, but in this series, he's 0 for 10.
Any other time in his career, we would figure, man, he's the possible tying run. He just might do it. 63 homers the last 2 years, but he's only hit 4 this year.
He's changed his approach. Howard Johnson, the hitting coach, said he's trying to shorten up, to go back up the middle, hit from gap to gap.
It's softly. A-Rod in a hurry, on the run. He got him at first. And the inning is over. Nice play by A-Rod. Top of the order coming up for the Yankees. Derek Jeter, Nick Swisher, Mark Teixeira when we come back.
Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Brought to you by Hyundai Assurance. A little certainty in uncertain times. Find out more at Hyundai.com. And your locally owned Citco. There at every turn.
And our thanks to the MetLife Blimp for providing tonight's MLB coverage. MetLife provides the guarantees you need for the most important ifs in your life. Visit MetLife.com today. Here come the Yankees into the 6th inning, leading 3-2. Derek Jeter, who led off the game with a double off the left field wall. And that started a 3-run first inning rally. We'll try and get them going again. They have been stymied by Livan ever since that first inning. They've only had 2 base runners since the first, and both of them were wiped out on a double play ball. The fastball in there for a strike. Swisher on deck, and then Mark Teixeira due up third. Alex Rodriguez would be due fourth if they get somebody aboard that doesn't get doubled up. Livan and his older half-brother Orlando Hernandez, El Duque, former Yankee, used to talk about the postseason, the big games, as baseball de sangre, blood baseball, baseball to the death, and that's the way they learned it in their native Cuba. And I'm wondering if for Livan, this is a little bit of that baseball de sangre. Yankees and Mets, especially with his Mets struggling so badly. He got roughed up by the Yankees when he faced them back 16 days ago. 2-1 the count. And just off the outside.
I saw Livan Hernandez last year. He was in Minnesota, ended up in Colorado. He got pounded. I mean, he absolutely got pounded. But he had a knee problem. He spent this winter rehabbing his knee, got himself in great shape, and was determined to get his career back on track. And Omar Minaya gave him a chance, and he's repaying him.
He has walked Derek Jeter to start the inning. Now, the Mets might have had a runner, and maybe even still being up in the 5th inning. But Alex Rodriguez made a very nice play and a slow ground ball hit by David Wright.
Well, this is a great play. I mean, he charges, watch one step, gets rid of it right on target, and David Wright runs well, but a great play there by Alex Rodriguez. I mean, this is a far more difficult play than you might imagine, throwing across your body and throwing accurately. And again, you got the guy like Teixeira at first base who can help you out on throws that are not exactly on target.
Here is Nick Swisher. Well, Yankee fans well remember Don Mattingly at first base, about as good as there was, and of course Mets fans had some thought maybe was the best there ever was at first base, Keith Hernandez. But if you're an infielder, how important is that?
Very important.
To know that wherever you make the throw, the guy's going to handle it somehow.
It's far more important for the left side of the infield, the shortstop and the third baseman, because from second base it's a pretty short throw. You're going to be active.
Anybody can do that. Anybody can just pick it up.
I didn't go that far, but it's a much easier throw, so you're going to be accurate more often. You have more time. And so it helps the shortstop and the third baseman a lot more than it would the second baseman.
Swisher has hit into a fielder's choice and is lined out to right center. And Livan misses a ball and a strike.
I think after the game, we should go down and hit Johnson fungos down.
Yeah, let him see, right?
Make some throws over the first.
Well, I just was trying to. It sounded like that's what you were saying.
No.
It's a short throw, such an easy throw.
Well, it is a short
second.
throw. I mean, it's shorter than the other throws from the other infield.
I was the one who had a lot more respect for second baseman. 1-1 the count.
The respect for second baseman comes when they stand at second base with their back to the runner, knowing that he's coming down there to try to tear him in half, and you have to make the play first and worry about your body second. Now that's the mark of the second baseman. That's when you appreciate him.
And we may see it come into play here. Livan Hernandez rolled a few double plays in this game, and Luis Castillo, quick hands, quick transfer at second base. We'll see if it comes into play.
Cal Ripken always said that he thought the mark of any middle infielder was, do they always turn the double play when the game's on the line late in the game?
Thank you. That's how you measure.
And that means turning it even though your body may be in harm's way.
One of the difficult things about playing shortstop, second base in those situations, do you look out and make the play first and worry about your body second? I mean, and it's not easy to say you do that every time, but the good infielders will always do that. they will make the play because their pitcher got the ground ball for them, and they feel the obligation to make the play, stand in there and make it.
2-2 the count to Swisher. Jeter at first, nobody out. The sinker runs down and away, full count. J.T. Snow is a Gold Glove first baseman. His first spring training in Major League camp was with the Yankees, and Don Mattingly was there. He asked Mattingly, says, "Do you have a tip for a young guy about starting the 3-6-3 double play or the 3-6-1 double play where the first baseman fields and throws to second?" He says, "Don't worry about where you throw it. Just get it there as quick as possible, because they're going to get killed otherwise. Your middle infielders are the guys with usually the best hands. They'll handle it. Just get it to them in a hurry so they can avoid getting killed and complete the double play." There goes Jeter, and that is ball 4. And Levon has walked 2 in a row to start the inning, and here come the big sluggers. Teixeira with A-Rod on deck.
Well, you don't want to put runners on with these guys coming up, and he went to a 3-2 breaking ball there where he's been effective, but he stayed so far away from Nick Swisher. You know, Swisher's a guy who doesn't chase the ball off the zone, and this is what ended up happening. You see the approach right there, you know, spins a slider off the plate. Really not even a decision-making pitch for Nick Swisher. It was so far out of the zone.
Well, I think the big mistake he made was with Jeter. You know, you have to go after Jeter in this lineup. You have to. I mean, things get tough now. You got, you know, Swisher's after him. Swisher's hitting with a lot of power. Now you have Teixeira, then you have Rodriguez, Cano. I mean, you have to go after Jeter when he's leading off the inning.
The Mets bullpen gets busy. Bobby Parnell, a right-hander, has started to throw out behind the right center field fence. Mark Teixeira has 2 RBIs already tonight, a 2-run first inning double. Center field. Ball almost never goes out in that part of this yard. Both runners tag up. Martinez to second, and both runners have moved up.
Good job, good base running there, and we can't say that all the time about teams, but that was excellent base running. From Swisher's point of view, he tagged up right away. We knew Jeter was going to tag up, but he was able to tag up in advance as well. Well, you can see everyone here. You'll see Jeter go back, but you can see Swisher goes back right away. He doesn't wait, and he is using it like if he's at third base and coming home on a sacrifice fly. And an excellent play there by Swisher. Well, what do you do here?
You walk? You mean do you walk out?
Yeah, that's what I said. What do you do? I think I would walk him. Although you're getting into the lion's den with Cano and Posada being left-handed, I don't think you can afford to give up any more runs.
Cano has hit 2 double play balls tonight.
Right.
One was turned into a double play.
Yeah, but the problem you have is you're down 3-2. You scored 2 runs. You're not a scoring machine. You cannot afford to give up many more runs, in my opinion, and win this ball game.
See, and I probably walk him. I mean, A-Rod's got the numbers against Levon Hernandez here. I probably walk him, or if I'm going to pitch to him, I'm going to get him to chase out of the zone, see if he expands the strike zone. But you've got Cano, who struggled against Levon in this game. You've gotten the double plays when you needed him. I think you've got to take a chance to load him up and get the double play.
There's just too much history in A-Rod's favor.
He's 12 for 20. So you know he's going to put the ball in play.
Well, they are going to walk him.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to walk him. I would walk him myself. And it doesn't mean it's going to work out, but I think, as they say, it's the lesser of 2 evils in this situation. You have a chance that if Cano hits a one-hopper on the infield again, you can get out of it without any run score. If you pitch to A-Rod, he's going to put the ball in play. So you're probably going to have to give up a run if you do that.
Now, Cano hit a ball that was nearly turned into a spectacular double play, started by Castillo in the first inning, but then Daniel Murphy dropped the throw at first base, so they only got the 1 out. But then it did hit into a double play, more of a, if there is such a thing as a routine double play, more of a routine double play in his last at bat. So they're just hoping Levon can make those same pitches again.
I think this is a sign of the times. The Mets are struggling now to score runs. You can't afford to give up any more, so you take this chance, and it is a chance.
I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan and Steve Phillips. We're at Citi Field in New York. The Subway Series. The Yankees trying to sweep the series, which they'll do if they win tonight. They scored 3 in the first, but none since. The Mets had a 2-run 4th inning against Chen-Ming Wong, the Yankee starter. They have just walked Alex Rodriguez intentionally to load the bases with 1 out in the 6th inning. Here is Cano. Ball 1. And Livan's sharpness has not been present in this inning.
Well, John, the sinker, he's lost control of the sinker. That's what he tried to throw Swisher. And he's lost control of that pitch. He's not able to throw it sinking away from the left-handed hitter and throw a strike with it.
And that's ball 2. That was his 18th pitch of the inning, and 14 of them have been out of the strike zone.
You're right. The fastball kind of tailing away from the left-hander into the right-hander. So what we've seen him do so far in this game, when he's been in these counts, 2-0, 3-1, 2-1 counts, he's gone to the slider to try to get the out that he needs.
2-0 the count. That's a double play ball. And the inning is over.
Well, that's why you do it. You try to get yourself one shot of getting out of the inning without any runs scored, and it worked perfectly.
Still 3-2 Yankees. Only series-ending, postseason, game-ending homer, October 9th, 1999, Todd Pratt. And that beat the Arizona Diamondbacks and sent the Mets to the National League Championship Series up against the Atlanta Braves. Covered here on ESPN. This is our 20th season of covering Major League Baseball as Gary Sheffield takes ball 1 from Ching-Ming Wong. And you have been helping us celebrate our 20th season of Major League coverage by going to the MLB page at ESPN.com and voting on that 20th anniversary team. That's a slider from Wong in there for a strike. And it is a ball and a strike. According to your votes for the manager of the 20th year All-Star team, we'll give you the result here in just a moment. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Off the glove of Wong, and that's going to turn that into a base hit. Sheffield's second hit, the third straight time that he has reached. So the voting for the manager of our 20th year All-Star team, it was between Tony La Russa, Joe Torre, Bobby Cox, and the winner, Bobby Cox. Go to ESPN.com tomorrow to make your pick for the right-handed starting pitcher on that 20th year All-Star team.
Look how close it was, wow. John. 34% to 33 for La Russa and Torre.
I want to recount.
Well, did you vote? Did either of you vote?
I abstained.
Same here. But if I'd have known, I probably would have gone and voted for Torrey and make it a three-way tie.
It's hard to pick between the three. I'll tell you what, you take any one of them to manage your team for sure.
Yeah.
You couldn't go wrong.
No doubt.
With any of the three. Here is Fernando Tatis. The Yankee bullpen is busy as Wong works in the 6th inning of the game for the first time since June the 10th of last year. He got hurt June the 15th in an interleague game after he had pitched 5 strong innings and had not thrown even so much as one pitch in the 6th inning of a game since June the 10th of last year until tonight. And that slider is a little bit low. Now, one thing that has been wondered about Wong is that, according to the scouting reports, that sinker has been at its best maybe through the first 70 pitches of the game and not nearly the same after that in his earlier starts this year.
And sometimes it's just the opposite, John, with a sinker ball pitcher. The ball starts to sink more as he loses velocity, but obviously that's not the case with Wong, at least not this year.
I think the big question is if he tries to generate velocity with his body instead of letting his natural delivery work, then a lot of times pitchers rush out in front, they fly open, and they elevate the fastball. Fernando Tatis grounded into 10 double plays this year, some critical double plays during the course of the season. You see the action in the Yankee bullpen.
Phil Hughes, the right-hander, and Koch is the left-hander. There goes Sheffield on the bunt and run. And a high throw, but handled very deftly by Mark Teixeira for the out.
Interesting. I would think that you might hit and run.
You almost wonder if maybe it was a missed
sign. Exactly. Because I would think you would hit and run in that situation rather than bunt and run. Or maybe Gary was trying to steal it on his own, but that's kind of interesting, and they're going to take Wong out.
2 left-handed hitters are coming up, Fernando Martinez and Brian Schneider, and he's got the left-hander Phil Koch, the specialist of the Yankee bullpen, and that will do it for Chin-Ming Wong. The Yankees lead 3-2, and here comes Koch in to face Martinez, or maybe a pinch hitter. We'll find out when we come back. We are in the last of the 6th inning. The Yankees lead the Mets 3-2 with a runner at second and 1 out. And Phil Koch comes in. He will face the rookie left-handed hitting center fielder Fernando Martinez. Ball 1. Koch has been somewhat inconsistent as have been many of the Yankee bullpenners, although the bullpen has been much more reliable here the last several weeks than it was early in the season. And Koch has been awfully tough on left-handed hitting. He's pitched 32 in the third innings total and only allowed 21 hits. But he's also given up 5 home runs in just 32 in the third.
Well, John, the Yankee bullpen has given up more home runs than anyone. They've given up 29 home runs, which is the highest in the league.
Martinez hit a double to knock in the Mets' first run. That was in the 4th inning. A fastball is in there. And now Posada immediately takes time out and runs out to chat with Phil Koch. The bullpen back in April, horrendous. Better in May, and it's been very strong so far in June.
Fredo Aceves has done a great job out there. Dave Robertson has done a terrific job getting a lot of strikeouts and big curveball. And Phil Hughes, since going to the bullpen, is a different guy. The confidence has come back, and he has electric stuff out of the bullpen.
2-1 the count. And over the outside corner, 2-2. Now you've got the left-handed hitting catcher, Schneider, out on deck. The Mets have a right-handed hitting catcher, Omir Santos, also available, and he is in the dugout with a bat. And the pop foul as he fought off that slider. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Young Fernando Martinez is going to learn. You got a left-handed specialist in the game with a sweep and breaking ball. You get that 2-0, 2-1 fastball. You've got to jump on that thing with a runner in scoring position. But he's a young, crude guy still trying to figure out how pitchers are going to pitch here at the major league level.
Martinez 1 for 2 tonight. A-Rod made a nice play to field the ball and throw him out in the 2nd. Then he hit that double off the wall and left in the 4th. And he swings it one over his head. Strike 3.
John, while we have a quick moment here, the umpires, Mike Winters, Jerry Lane, Tony Randazzo, and Chris Guccione, wanted me to wish our buddy Ed Montague a speedy recovery. He's at home recovering, has a neck injury. But Ed lives out our way in the Bay Area, and a good friend of mine for a lot of years. Used to play in all of my golf tournaments and support all the charities I was involved. So get well soon, Ed. Looking forward to seeing you.
Absolutely great umpire as well.
Yeah, definitely. But that came from your guys in blue here tonight.
They're not really in blue anymore.
Well,
they used to be
black.
There's Mike Winters. And now the Mets have put Omir Santos up.
And here comes Girardi.
And Girardi's coming out with a double switch, apparently. Hughes ready in the bullpen. The pitcher's spot is due up 4th in the next go-round for the Yankees. And Johnny Damon, who have been struggling with the flu the last couple of days. And Girardi said before the game, Damon had told him he should be able to pinch hit tonight. And who knew what else, depending on how well he felt. Well, apparently well enough to play in this game now. Double switch for the Mets. We'll come back. interleague play this year. And the American League leads 136 victories to 113 by National League teams. A rather wide disparity again this year. This does not bring interleague play to an end for this year. The Padres and Rangers are also playing. They're in the last of the 8th inning down in Arlington, Texas. Padres lead 2-0 in that one. But also remember the Cubs and White Sox. The Chicago interleaguers had a game rained out. So they still have to make that one up, which will be later on this season. That will likely be the final interleague game. Johnny Damon came into play left field, hitting in the 9th spot. And Melky Cabrera moved from left field over to right field. And the pitcher, Hughes, is in the number 2 spot on the order where Nick Swisher had been. Possible tying run at second base. And Santos, shallow right center. And there is Cabrera in his new position, making the grab. And Santos is gone on one pitch. The Yankee bullpen got it done. And we head into the late innings now. Posada coming up, 3-2 Yankees. The guarantees you need for the most important ifs in your life. Visit MetLife.com today. 7th inning. John Miller, Joe Morgan, Steve Phillips with you. Sunday Night Baseball from New York. Omir Santos receives that pitch from Livan Hernandez off the outside corner for ball 1. Santos, who pinch hit for Schneider, made the final out of the Mets' 6th inning, stranding that runner at second base. Posadas hit a sacrifice fly and grounded out to second. That is a strike at the knees on the outside. Now, we talk about that runner at second. For the Mets, Gary Sheffield had hit an infield single to lead off the inning. But it was how he got to second that is a point of discussion and some speculation. Because on a 1-0 count, Sheffield took off for second base and Tatis bunted the ball. Which is not unknown, but it was not something that you would have expected there. And the breaking ball for a strike.
Well, I mean, if you're going to sacrifice a guy over, it's not a bunt and run. You just square around and sacrifice him. It appeared to me as 1 ball, no strikes, almost a perfect hit and run situation that maybe, Tatis missed the sign.
Curveball down the right field line. And that is a foul ball.
And that's a maybe. I don't know if he missed it or not.
But you take a look at it, and you wonder if with Chien-Ming Wang tiring in the 6th inning for the first time this year, going beyond the 5th, Tatis gets the bunt down, and a successful bunt. You see Sandy Alomar going over to talk to him in the dugout, and Tatis getting up and going right down the tunnel. So seemed to be a little bit upset. So maybe there was some missign or misunderstanding.
We're in the 7th inning now. The ball slapped to left field by Posada, and that's a nice catch by Tatis.
That ball is slicing away from him. When a left-hander hits it the opposite way, that ball really slices away from the fielder and toward the line. And you can see here this ball starts to slice toward the foul line, and Tatis gets a good jump on it and runs it down.
Every single drive I hit does that right there.
Well, then you should know what that duck hook I was talking about.
Exactly.
And John didn't understand a couple of weeks ago.
I never had that problem. Melky Cabrera. He is struck out, flied out deep to right center. Tatis takes charge on this one. 2 down.
Now, Livan Hernandez is only throwing 8 first pitch strikes to the 25 hitters he's faced tonight. And it's almost like he's better off that way because he gets them in fastball counts and hitters counts, and his most successful out pitch is his slider. So when he falls behind, he throws the off-speed pitch and has gotten the Yankee hitters off balance. When he went fastballs in the 1st inning, he paid a little bit of a price, even though his infielders didn't help him behind him.
I actually think that his first pitch, he's trying to make a perfect pitch. And if he doesn't, like you say, he's behind 1-0, but he's still in control of the at-bat in his mind.
Brett Gardner. Ball 1.
Trying to hit the outside edge with a fastball. That's what he does. Now he starts to pitch. If he can get that first strike, he's fine, but it's not going to be where they can hammer it.
And the changeup misses. Gardner has popped up to short and walked. One of 5 walks allowed by Livan. 3 of those walks came in the 6th inning. 2 to start the inning, and then after a deep fly ball by Teixeira, moved the runners to 3rd and to 2nd. An intentional walk issued to A-Rod. Fastball just on the outside. 2-1, and that set up the double play that ended the inning. Hit by Robinson Cano to Alex Cora. 3 in the 1st for the Yankees. They've only had 1 hit since the 1st inning. And there have been 3 double plays turned back of Livan since the 1st inning. So every time they've had a base runner since the 1st, then there's a double play ball. Slow curveball and a little bit high, apparently. 3-1. Livan didn't think so.
A good take by Brett Gardner, the youngster, kind of figuring out here at the major league level. A 2-1, a fastball count, a slow rolling curveball out of the zone. With Brett Gardner, he can run. If he gets a single, he may try to stretch it into a double. The Mets outfielders better get the ball in.
He bunts on a 3-1 count with 2 down.
See, now that's why I didn't understand the pitch that Livan threw. Livan threw him a 2-1 curveball. The guy just wants to get on base any kind of way. If you walk him, he's going to steal some bases maybe, or try to. You see he's trying to get on base by bunting with 2 outs. You know, in most cases you say a guy shouldn't be bunting with 2 outs, but hey, new day.
Well, he's stolen 17 out of 19 bases. He's a little different animal.
That one is hit deep down the right field line. Into the corner, and a foul ball. Wow. 330 feet to that right field foul pole here at New City Field. And he took aim at it. He's got 3 home runs this year. And if you hit it right down the line, it's sort of a normal distance. But if you hit a little bit off the line, then it gets deep on Fenway Park or AT&T Park in San Francisco. Very deep to right center, but straightaway right. They open that up, and it's very deep just to straightaway right.
This reminds me of the old style ballparks. You had to hit the ball 400 feet to get it out in any direction.
And Livan threw him the curveball. And Castillo. And a sarcastic cheer for Castillo, who had dropped a pop-up in the first interleague game between the clubs at Yankee Stadium at the worst of all possible times.
Castillo backing up, onto the grass, under it, drops the ball, and the score is Jeter. Teixeira coming to the plate, he slides it ahead of the throw. The Yankees win, and the Mets have lost easily one of the worst regular season defeats in their history.
Is swung on and a high pop to second. Castillo on the outfield grass. Drops the ball. He dropped the ball. Here comes Teixeira. He scores. Yankees win. Oh, wow. The Yankees win.
You heard the sarcastic cheer after the pop-up was caught by Castillo on the ball hit by Brett Gardner. And this is where the sarcasm came from, the first meeting of the year between the clubs.
Up in the air. Castillo backing up, onto the grass, under it, drops the ball, and the score is Jeter. Teixeira coming to the plate. He slides it ahead of the throw. The Yankees win, and the Mets have lost easily one of the worst regular season defeats in their history.
And let's watch. This is the way you catch a pop-up. This is Castillo in the last inning catching it with two hands. We saw in the play at Yankee Stadium, he tried to catch it with one hand. And remember, this is one of the best fielding second basemen in the history of the game. I mean, he had the record for consecutive games before Polanco broke his record. I mean, this guy's without an error. I mean, consecutive games without an error. I mean, he was unbelievable. I mean, excellent. It was just one of those plays that happens, as they say, once in a career. And from that point on, he's been catching the ball with two hands, which would have eliminated that play.
Well, here is Castillo to lead off against Phil Hughes. And with the pitcher, Livan Hernandez, due up next, and the Mets trailing by a run, a would-be pinch hitter has come out on deck for the Mets. Hughes, the third Yankee pitcher of the game. Seventh inning, 3-2. The Yankees lead the Mets. Hughes got the final out of the sixth inning, retiring Santos as Castillo, who just wants to get on base somehow, shows bunt, takes the ball. It's 2-0.
Now, Chim Won was brought back into the rotation, and he displaced Phil Hughes. They put Hughes in the bullpen, and the thought was he was going to be here for a couple starts to back up Wong. But Hughes has been so good in the pen that he's now found himself a spot, and I think he may graduate himself into becoming that 8th inning reliever.
And it's ball 3. By the way, if Castillo does get aboard here, Levon is an excellent bunter. But Evans is out on deck. Nick Evans, a right-handed hitter.
But you're correct. Levon's a good hitter and a good bunter.
And that fastball is in there for a strike. It's 3-1. But the Yankees right now with that 3-2 lead. And this is where the Yankee manager, now it's Joe Girardi, used to be Joe Torre, try to knit together the few outs that would get them to Mariano Rivera with that lead. That is just a little bit low. That was a close one. Ball 4, a leadoff walk to Castillo. There is Mariano Rivera, the great Yankee closer. His next save will be his 500th career save. He's out in the Yankee bullpen, which means he's out where you can't really see him, except we happen to have a camera embedded out in the bullpen. Trevor Hoffman, the all-time saves leader at 571, and then Mariano Rivera. He's passed Lee Smith, John Franco, Dennis Eckersley on that list. And
Eckersley, of course, was a starter as well as a reliever.
But the only guy ever to reach 500 was Trevor Hoffman. Now it's going to be Argenis Reyes as the pinch hitter for Livan Hernandez, rather than Evans, as they have a chance to bunt that runner over. Argenis Reyes, just brought up from the minor leagues a few days ago. Switch hitter, batting left-handed. A-Rod very shallow at third. A-Rod in to field it. There's the throw to second in the dirt and pulled out by Jeter. Well, like a Gold Glove first baseman making that play.
There are times you take a chance, and there are times when you play the game straight up. We saw Daniel Murphy try to make a play in the first inning that wasn't a game-saving play. This isn't a game-saving situation, and as you mentioned, Jeter just comes up with it. Nice short hop, and he's clearly out at second base, but a great play by Rodriguez and a great play by Jeter at second base.
And a poor bunt by Reyes. I mean, that's a ball you have to bunt toward the first base line. Alex Rodriguez was charging in. Man on first, bunt it to first because the first baseman has to hold the runner.
Here is Murphy. Reyes now at first base. Murphy is 0 for 3 in the game. He flied out to shallow center his first time and has struck out twice since then. Teixeira on the bag with him and takes that throw from Hughes. Reyes has at times been a base stealer in the past in the minor leagues. And a fastball at the knees at 95 miles an hour from Hughes for a called strike. Reyes has stolen as many as 46 bases in a minor league season in the past. Well, that was several years ago. Reyes is now 26 years old.
Well, watching Hughes, you can get a good lead and you can get a good jump on him if they desire to try to steal a base. He doesn't have a big lead at first, though, so I don't think he's trying to steal the base.
That's most stolen bases in the National League, so they do tend to run. But Reyes just called up. The question is, how much does Jerry Manuel know? He knows a little bit from last year. He got some playing time. How much does he trust the young guy to run in this situation? You've got a hole there maybe for Murphy to try to pull the ball through.
And he spins that breaking ball in there for a strike. 1-2. Reyes just brought up for the minor leagues 4 days ago from Buffalo of the International League. And he had 9 steals there in his first 45 games played without being caught. He also missed some time on the disabled list with a groin injury. 1-2 the count. And fouled away by Murphy.
We saw Reyes' eyes shifting in as he was leading off. He was trying to see if he couldn't sneak a peek at the pitch or a possible pitch out, as Jorge Posada is signaling Phil Hughes with what pitch to throw. So he's taking the lead, trying to see if he can anticipate a breaking ball possibly, or a change up to be able to maybe get a jump and run an off-speed pitch.
So Jerry Manuel looking at the pitcher, then sneaking a look over at first base. 1-2 the count. Reyes is going. It's bounced to Cano. Reyes at second as Murphy is thrown out and 2 men gone with a runner at second.
Let's go back to that situation with Castillo on first base and the bunt situation. You see where Alex Rodriguez is set up. He's coming in to try to take away the bunt, and watch him start to creep in as the pitch starts to come. This bunt has to go to first base. Mark Teixeira is holding Castillo on first. Alex Rodriguez is running, coming in to be able to make the play. That bunt, sacrifice bunt with a man on first base, has to go down the first base line. The first baseman can't give up the position as he holds the runner. The only out you can get at second base if you bunt it too hard to the pitcher or to the third baseman on the charge.
Now Alex Cora in a spot where a base hit to the outfield could tie this game. 3-2 Yankees, and a fastball right in there for a called strike. Cora has been hit by a pitch. He has walked and he has grounded out to second. Cora, after the disheartening loss yesterday in which the Mets only had 1 hit in the game. A.J. Burnett just shut them down for 7 with 10 strikeouts, allowing 1 hit. The bullpen took it from there. And Cora talked about the dilemma for the Mets as he swings and doesn't get it. He said, hey, Burnett was just pumping fastballs. He was very aggressive in the strike zone. And you can do that against our club right now.
Well, the key is, John, when a small ball meets a fireballer, the small ball's in trouble. And that happened with Sabathia the day before on Friday night. I mean, he just overpowered him. When guys throw hard, the small ball guys are in trouble a lot of times.
The fastball from Hughes. It was another fireballer. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, that's for sure. Any team, even if they had all their guys, it's not going to be an easy time. You face Sabathia and Burnett in consecutive games. And the Mets are definitely undermanned with 3 of their best hitters on the disabled list. Reyes, Argenis Reyes at second, and Cora is called out on strikes. And the Mets leave a runner in scoring position for the 2nd inning in a row. On to the 8th inning. Johnny Damon, Derek Jeter coming up for the Yankees.
Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by State Farm. At home or away, State Farm is there. Call, click, or visit and start saving today.
And a called strike to Johnny Damon from the new Mets pitcher, Pedro Feliciano. And as Damon comes up, the Mets bullpen is also active back of Feliciano. And for that matter, the Yankee bullpen is busy as we start the 8th inning. This is Murphy, the unassisted out, one away. And now the right-handed hitting Derek Jeter coming up. And the pitcher Hughes is due up 3rd in the inning as we see Feliciano's numbers for the year. So if they hit for Hughes, then they've got somebody warming up for the last of the 8th inning of the Yankee bullpen.
You see those appearances, 41 appearances, most in the major leagues. And Pedro Feliciano had a point last week. He had thrown in 6 consecutive games for Jerry Manuel. He realized he needed to back him off a little bit. There's Brian Bruni warming up in the Yankee bullpen.
Yeah, the Mets bullpen has been worked very hard. And there's a called strike to Jeter, who has doubled. That was in the 1st inning. He hit one off the left field wall as the first hitter of the game, and that started a 3-run rally, which are still the only runs the Yankees have scored. Since then, has lined out to center and walked. 3-2. The Mets are leading. The Yankees are leading. The Yankees have only 3 hits with 3 runs, and there were some defensive miscues in that 1st inning by the Mets that helped turn that into a 3-run rally. Perhaps it might have only been a 1-run inning. That's a strike on the inside. Cody Ransom you saw on deck for the Yankees with Hughes due up next. One ball and 2 strikes to Derek Jeter, hitting .309 for the year. Just back after a bout with the flu, which has run rampant through the Yankees clubhouse the last 2-3 days. Johnny Damon, Derek Jeter have both had bouts with it, and A-Rod has been battling it. Teixeira has battled it. Melky Cabrera just feeling better today. Cano feeling better today, both in the lineup. That changeup is low.
This is about as patient as I've ever seen Derek Jeter, though, John. With 2 strikes, he's usually hacking if it's close. But he has been very disciplined in this ball game tonight against Livan Hernandez and also against Feliciano.
3-2. And a foul.
You know, we showed how the Yankee bullpen has gotten better over the course of the season if they sorted through the roles. Well, the Mets bullpen has actually gone the other way. They got off to a great start in April and May and then have deteriorated in the month of June. I think a big part of it because of the overuse, John, that you talk about. They've just, you see the numbers there, how things have evolved for them. And look at the month of June, how the bullpen has just not gotten it done. But I think it's because they're fatigued. I mean, they are in there a lot. Jerry Manuel going to the well with his key guys, Pedro Feliciano, Bobby Parnell.
Jeter coaches a walk, and that's the 2nd straight time that he has done so. 1 out, 1 on. And now Cody Ransom is going to go back to the dugout as we go to the studio for Steve Berthume for a Sports Center right now.
Wow. In Texas, too.
At the ballpark there in Texas.
We'll be there next week, right?
Sunday Night Baseball. Tampa Bay Rays, who have been playing extremely well lately. They won their 5th in a row today. They're 7 games over 500 in the American League East. And they'll be up against the Texas Rangers, who are now a game and a half back of the Angels in the West. Here is Hideki Matsui, left-handed pinch hitter against the left-handed Feliciano. They had Ransom out there on deck, but now decided to put up the left-handed batting Matsui. And Joe Girardi said he has a bone to pick with the schedule makers about an American League team, the Yankees, having played 9 straight road games against National League teams. So their designated hitter, generally is Matsui. So he hadn't played this whole road trip. Feliciano throws out Matsui as Jeter goes to second. 2 down.
A lot of times the DH will get a chance to play a game or two in the field, but Matsui's knees are so bad he just cannot play the outfield anymore. And so it really has affected his eye at the plate.
Well, that's why he's tried to pinch hit him as much as possible here just to get him some at-bats. But we were talking about the bullpens and how the Mets, are tired. I've said this all along, and I believe it even more so now. Starting pitching is the key to a championship team nowadays. If you do not have starting pitchers who can get you to the 7th inning and help you win ball games, your bullpen's going to be shot by the end of the year. If they have to get 9-10 outs a day, every day, your bullpen's not going to stay sound, and that's what has happened to the Mets bullpen. They're asked to get a lot of outs, and in doing so, you wear guys down. It's impossible to do anything else if your starters only go 5 innings and leave you 12 outs to go.
Well, the way to have a good bullpen is to keep them in the bullpen.
Right, exactly.
Jim Leland says all the time, I want to use them when I want to use them, not because I have to use them. And Jerry Manuel has had to use his bullpen.
And it all goes back to your starting pitchers.
So here is Teixeira, first base open. Teixeira, a switch hitter with the right-handed hitting A-Rod on deck. And he throws a called strike. Does Feliciano to Teixeira. We hit a 2-run double in the first inning, which is looming ever larger in the scope of this game. Yankees lead 3-2 all their runs in that first inning. Teixeira hit a double down the left field line against Livan Hernandez for the first 2 runs of the game, and later in the inning scored on a sacrifice fly by Posada. Now he's trying to knock in a very big run. It's a 1-run game right now. But Feliciano has some room in which to maneuver here. And if he ends up walking Teixeira, A-Rod's coming up next. They have a right-hander, Sean Green, up in there. Well, then they're going to go ahead and walk him intentionally anyway, which may be the final act of Feliciano if he doesn't also include a wild pitch in the effort.
I'm not sure what I mean, if you're going to walk him, walk him. I don't. The notion of trying to get Mark Teixeira, who's as selective as any hitter in the big leagues, to try to chase off the plate, you're asking for trouble in my mind.
Well, there's the call to the bullpen for Sean Green, the right-hander, and Alex Rodriguez, who's having a pretty good night. Been walked twice and singled once, but his main statement tonight has been on the field at third base. Sean Green in to face A-Rod in the 8th inning. 2-man hour. We'll be back. with Yankees fans and Mets fans. The Subway Series final meeting between the Yankees and Mets in this interleague interlude for 2009. And here is Alex Rodriguez. I don't know how often A-Rod's been to the plate where the guy in front of him was walked intentionally just so they could pitch to him. Yeah, this has got to be maybe a new one for A-Rod. He's been swinging the bat well lately. Sean Green a little bit low. Ball one.
Maybe they didn't read his resume. 564 career home runs.
You see Green's numbers. More hits than innings pitched.
Green has an outstanding slider. Opponent's only hitting 129 on the slider.
And that one is low and inside. It's 2-0 now. A-Rod, by the way, Thursday, at about the lowest point he's ever been in a season. He was hitting only 207 earlier in the week. Starting Thursday, he's hit 2 homers and driven in 7 runs in 3 games leading into tonight. 2 men on him. And that one is in there for a strike. Another off-speed pitch from Green.
A turn for Alex Rodriguez in that 6th inning where Joe Girardi got ejected from the game. Francisco Cervelli hit the home run. He came up with the bases loaded and all of a sudden got aggressive again. Jeff Bennett came in the game throwing fastballs, and Alex got aggressive. And see if he gets aggressive in a 2-1 count right here.
2 men on, 2 men out. And the sinker a little bit low. 3-1. The left-handed hitting Robinson Cano is on deck. Jeter at second. Teixeira at first. There's Cano on deck. You see number 25. Teixeira getting his lead away from first. 2 down in the 8th. The Yankees have 1 hit since the first inning. And there's that slider you're talking about, Steve. It's 3-2.
A 3-1 count. Alex Rodriguez sitting up, geared up for a fastball. Good break and depth on this slider. Good pitch right there. Got him out in front.
$41,315, a sellout crowd. Everybody standing. The runners go. And he just got a piece of that one to fight it off.
Threw a slider again right there. I got to believe he's going to get a steady diet of sliders right now. If you throw it 3-1, you're going to throw it on 3-2. He made a mistake right there. Left that one on the inside part of the plate.
Well, that looks more like a backup slider. Because A-Rod was waiting for it to break and it never did. And that's why he went into that emergency swing.
The runners go. And he walks. For the 2nd inning out of the last 3, Mets pitching has walked the bases loaded.
No, he changed his motion. He changed everything. He tried to almost like quick pitch him. And he wasn't able to throw a strike with it. Well, let's take a look at the sequence against A-Rod. There's a little sinker for a strike. Breaking ball. Another breaking ball. And this one, fastball away. Now, there's where he got A-Rod thinking fastball, and he swung and missed. There's the backup slider. And he really rushed that pitch. I mean, he almost didn't stop.
Fans and Mets fans are having a cheer down going right now. Yankee fans chanting, "Let's go Yankees," and Mets fans also doing the Yankee cheer, but of a different nature.
I was wondering how you're going to describe that.
Cano, who has hit a double play ball in each of his at-bats tonight, although the first one ended up not being a double play, a drop throw at first.
You know, he leads the Yankees in grounding into double plays. And it's not because he can't run, but the reason is because he hits the ball up the middle more. And he hits the ball hard, so you have a chance to turn it. And the balls he's hit tonight have been hard, but they've been right at the middle infielders.
To second, Castillo's got that one.
And another hard ground ball by Cano.
The Yankees again get 3 walks in the same inning and do not score. David Wright, then Gary Sheffield, the power coming up. edition live from St. Louis on Tuesday, July 14th at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. This one counts. 3-2. The Yankees lead the Mets. Last of the 8th, and here is Brian Bruni back from the disabled list. He's the Yankees' 8th inning setup man in front of Mariano Rivera, the great closer. And you see Bruni's numbers: 15 strikeouts in 12 innings and only 4 hits allowed. The big hitters are up right now. And there's ball 1 to David Wright. Wright has struck out, grounded into a double play, and grounded out to third. Mariano Rivera starting to get his body loosened up. His next save would be number 500. And Bruni's job is to make sure he still has a lead to protect come the 9th inning. But right now the lead is only 1 run. In the dirt again. 2-0 to David Wright. Gary Sheffield on deck. Fernando Tatis due up third in the inning.
John, we had talked about David Wright being a different hitter. He struck out 73 times, in 272 at bats before tonight. So he is not the same David Wright, but he's hitting very well when he puts the ball in play.
3-0.
When he puts the ball in play, he's hitting .457. His career average is .346 when he puts it in play. The major league average is .296, and the second place guy is Jason Bartlett of Tampa Bay.
3-0 the count. And that is a 4-pitch walk. And remember, Wright is one of the leading base stealers in the National League as well. We're at Citi Field in New York. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. The Yankees and the Mets. The all-New York Interleague Battle, the Subway Series. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan and Steve Phillips. The Yankees scored 3 runs in the first inning. The Mets had some misadventures defensively, and the Yankees took advantage of it with a 3-run rally. And there is Alfredo Aceves, a right-hander now starting to get loose in the Yankee bullpen. Here is Gary Sheffield. And a slider at 89 miles an hour. Cutter at the knees on the outside. It's 0-1.
Actually, good job by Jorge Posada. He had difficulty throwing his fastball for strikes. So you know what? You get him off the fastball, get him on a slider where he has to get out in front with his release point again, and then try to bring him back to the fastball.
And he misses with that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Yankees had that 3-run first, but they never scored again. Not against Livan Hernandez, who went 7 innings and only allowed 3 hits, only 1 after the first inning, and not against Feliciano and Green, who got through a perilous 8th inning in which there were 3 walks issued. The Mets got 2 runs in the 4th inning, knocked in by Fernando Martinez and Luis Castillo to make it a 1-run game, and that's where it is right now. And the Mets have been frustrated. This is the 3rd consecutive inning in which they've gotten their leadoff man aboard, but they did not get him home in either of the 2 previous innings. Right at first. 1-1 to Sheffield. And he pops it up. He chased that high fastball. Jeter. And 1 away.
Well, he got Gary to go up and out of the strike zone. Gary's a good fastball hitter. But after 3 sliders down and away, he goes upstairs out of the strike zone, and Gary goes after it. And he pops it up. Good pitching there by Bruni. Because he knows Gary is anxious. He wants to do some damage, and he just lured him up out of the strike zone, and he popped it up.
Sheffield retired for the first time tonight. He'd had 2 singles and a walk, and had scored a run in his previous trips to the plate. So right at first, 1 out. Here is Fernando Tatis. Tatis is flied out to shallow right, grounded out to third, and hit a sacrifice bunt in the 6th inning that we thought was likely supposed to have been a hit-and-run play. And the slider is too high. Ball 1.
With the Mets offense the way it is, Fernando Tatis only 2 home runs so far this year. They're going to probably need 2 hits to score David Wright unless he steals a base. Now on deck you got Fernando Martinez, the youngster, who's really struggling at the plate. You almost think that maybe David Wright's got to try to take a chance to steal a base here to get in scoring position.
He has 19 steals for the year. It's too low to Tatis.
I think he's been caught 8 times.
Yep.
That's the one downfall there. If you've been caught, that means he's stealing almost, 2/3, 67% almost. Actually, a little higher.
I was told math wasn't necessary for this job, Joe.
2-0 the count. Oh. Well, he let it all hang out there and did not make contact.
Well, if he wants to steal a base, Bruni is giving him the opportunity because he starts to lean toward the plate before he delivers the ball. So he's giving David Wright an opportunity to steal if he wants to.
Teixeira on the bag with him. He's not going, and that is ball 3. Well, as we've seen in the past, sometimes just the mere threat of a steal can be enough of a distraction for a pitcher to lose a little focus on the central job of getting the hitter out. So he's fallen into a 3-1 hole. Now, what about running with a 3-1 count if you're David Wright?
Tatis has grounded into 10 double plays this year, so he is prone to the double play. But Bruni does have swing and miss stuff.
He's not running, and that is ball 4. So now the walk game is going the other way. 2 walks given to the Mets here. And the Yankees will conference. There is the pitching coach Dave Island heading out. And Mariano Rivera is up in the bullpen along with Aceves.
Well, we know that Rivera will get a 4-out saves a lot of times. They do not want to continue to get 5 or 6-out saves, but they will use him to get a 4-out save.
Think he's an off day tomorrow?
Well, here is young Fernando Martinez with 2 men on. Martinez, who has not hit very well in the big leagues, comes into this at bat hitting 171. However, he knocked in the Mets' first run with a double off the left field wall in the 4th inning against Chen-Ming Wang. Strike on the outside with a fastball. Martinez also scored a run in that 4th inning, knocked in himself by Castillo later in the inning after his double. Base hit to the outfield could tie this game. Wright, who runs well at second, the possible tying run. Tatis at first. And a pop-up. Out of play, 0-2.
Well, young guy at the plate, Joe, and throw the high fastball by him. Left-handed hitter, couldn't catch up to it.
Well, he struck out on a fastball up around his eyes the last time he was up there.
And I'm sure that Jorge Posada has not forgotten that he went upstairs and got him to go out of the strike zone for a strikeout.
Phil Koch, a left-hander, got him to chase back in the 6th inning with the runner in scoring position. 0-2 the count. And he does it again. Bruni this time.
Well, Posada's the key because he was there last time. He's not going to forget that he chased the fastball up and out of the strike zone for a strikeout in the 6th inning. So here in the 8th inning, he goes upstairs. This is not a high out of the strike zone. That's just a high strike. But here is the one that Posada wanted. Fastball well up and out of the strike zone.
The Mets have had 2 hits in 9 at-bats now with runners in scoring position. And with Omir Santos coming up, here comes Joe Girardi. So is it Mariano Rivera time?
Well, again, he wouldn't mind using him for 4 outs. They just do not like to use him for 5 or 6 out saves, and here he comes.
And the great Rivera has been summoned. So
.500 save of his career if he's able to save this ball game for the Yankees.
Mariano Rivera first made the move in his first full season in the big leagues. He had been a starting pitcher in the minors and even made 10 starts in the big leagues in 1995. But in 96, that's when they put him full-time in the bullpen, and he was a setup man. Usually he was the 7th and 8th inning guy in front of John Wetland, who was the veteran closer. And in late April of 1996, he pitched 3 no-hit innings out of the bullpen against the Minnesota Twins, who were managed by Tom Kelly. He had 5 strikeouts, got the win. It was the second time in that series that he'd pitched well against the Twins, and Kelly afterwards said, "We should ban him from baseball. He should be illegal. We don't want to face him again. He should be at a higher level." And at the time that Tom Kelly said that, Mariano Rivera, who now has 499 saves, had never had a big league save. So here he is, 499 saves later, and I think we fully understand just what a good judge of talent Tom Kelly is and was.
There's no question about that. It's been a remarkable run for Rivera. So many managers have said exactly what Tom Kelly has said since then. And what makes it more amazing is he really does it with one pitch. That cut fastball is such an effective pitch for him. He buries it in on the hands of the left-handers and breaks their bat. He runs it away from the right-handers. He can throw it up in the zone, down in the zone. Does an outstanding job with that pitch.
109 of his 499 regular season saves have gone more than 1 inning, which already sets him apart from all other closers of his time. Because it's the rare save that a closer has more than just the 3 outs nowadays. He's had 2 this year, including just this past Wednesday at Atlanta. So now Rivera. Now in the postseason, that was a whole different story. In the Joe Torre years, especially there was a day off the day after, Mariano not only would be used for a 2-inning save, he'd be penciled in for it.
This is a good matchup here. Omar Santos, a guy who does a good job going the other way, and he can hit the hard fastball. And Rivera's cutter can get up to 95 miles per hour.
Omar Santos, 23 runs batted in. He entered the game as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning against Phil Hughes and flied out to shallow right center in the first pitch he saw. The fastball too high.
Well, the one thing that distinguishes his cutter from anyone else's is that it just moves across the strike zone and it breaks late. It breaks closer to the plate. It moves later than any other pitcher's cut fastball in baseball.
And that cutter is fouled off to the right into the lower deck. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rivera has been excellent in save situations this year. He's had 17 saves and 18 opportunities. Where he's been vulnerable is in games that are tied. He's been knocked around a little bit in those games. That cutter is fouled off the right field line. 1-2.
Robinson Cano is jockeying with David Wright at second base, trying to keep him close in case there's a base hit where the outfield may have a chance to make a throw. But he's got to be careful to make sure he gets back to the position he wants to be in and that he's not moving while the pitch is going to the plate. You see, he keeps jockeying in here and then he's backing up, but he's kind of moving late. And if he's leaving a little bit of a gap right there, he's got to get himself back in position. And remember to knock the ball down in the infield. If it's a ground ball, don't let it get to the outfield. If you can do it, it could allow you to keep a run from scoring.
And very few times are you really going to have a chance to throw a runner out at the plate at this ballpark because they play so deep and the grass is so slow.
He goes inside, down and in. 2-2. Now, Steve was mentioning Santos, and he can be tough. And earlier this year in an interleague game against the Red Sox, he hit a 2-run homer against Jonathan Papelbon, the Red Sox outstanding closer, in the 9th inning. 2 on, 2 out. 3-2 Yankees. Chased that high one and pops it up foul. Well, Rivera's tried out. He's tried in. Now he went up. Well, Santos is still up there.
Well, he missed the spot on that one, John. He was fighting those first 2 cut fastballs off down the right field line, so they went inside just to show him a fastball in, and then that was supposed to be away again, and he didn't get it out there.
2-2. Base hit could tie the game. David Wright at second. The possible tying run. Tatis at first. 2 down. That one is hit well down the right field line. It is a foul ball. Melky Cabrera gave chase.
And this is interesting because Posada's going out to talk to Mariano Rivera again. I think what he said, look, the guy's fighting the ball off the right field. If you go out there with the slider, he may get a hit. So you may have to come inside.
Completely agree with you. I think he's vulnerable to the inside part of the plate. You see he's got that inside-out approach. The 2 times Rivera's come in and missed, I think he had locked up Santos. He just couldn't get it for a strike. I completely agree, Joe. I think they've got to come inside here.
The battle continues. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. There goes Wright from second, and it's high and tight as Wright steals third. You almost hit him with that pitch.
And Wright stealing third. If you're Tatis, you've got to be alive and go with him. You've got to be, because they're not holding you on at first base. If the guy at second base steals third, you should be able to go to second base because you can get as big a lead as you want at first base. Interesting, they're playing behind him because he's going to run anyway. But I still think you should hold him on, then move back.
3-2. There goes Tatis. Strike 3 call. The cutter on the inside that came back to the plate. And ultimately it was that inside pitch that got him.
Yeah, well, he was fighting everything off to the right side, so you had to come inside. And he comes right in there. Strike 3 call.
On to the 9th inning. 3-2 Yankees. Experience featuring 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer. For more details, visit MLB.tv, where baseball is always on. Changes for the Mets. Gary Sheffield moves from right to left field. And Jeremy Reed has come in to play right field, and a new pitcher has come in as well. The excellent closer of the Mets, their new ace of the bullpen, Francisco Rodriguez, for many years with the Angels, now at the Mets and having a fine year. Here is Posada, and a fastball misses. So right now he's just trying to save the deficit, give his club a shot to stay alive against the great Rivera in the last of the 9th.
Well, he's had 2 blown saves. One of them was the ball we showed that Castillo dropped in Yankee Stadium.
20 saves, 2 blown. And what happened? Cora stopped and looked at the second baseman, Castillo, and then nobody caught the ball. It's a hit for Posada.
Well, it's one thing to make, a physical mistake, but that's a mental mistake as far as I'm concerned, because someone has to call that ball. You see Cora stops, you see Castillo stops. I mean, you've worked together long enough now that the communication should not be a problem.
The shortstop has priority. He's supposed to be the leader of the infield. If anybody's going to make a mistake, the shortstop's got to do it by being over-aggressive and calling the ball.
Here is Melky Cabrera. Man, what is it with K-Rod getting pop-ups to middle infielders against the Yankees, and they just don't ever get caught?
Well, either strike them out or hit it on the ground. Yeah. I mean, really, listen, we jump on that, but the defense has been the difference in this game. Go back to the first inning. Yeah. Daniel Murphy at first base, the struggles and misjudgments on his play as well. I think you could say maybe a mental error in his part trying to get the out at third base. Cost them, and the Yankees on the other side of it have made some outstanding defensive plays in this game.
Melky Cabrera 0 for 3. Brett Gardner on deck. Now showing the bunt and taking a strike. Right from third, and Murphy from first came rushing in toward the plate. So all of the infielders moving around. The shortstop Cora breaks to cover second. Castillo, the second baseman, breaks to cover first. Melky Cabrera. The Yankees could use another run. They've had an assault by the Mets in each of the last 3 innings, and they've been able to stave them off. And that is too low. The Yankees, by the way, with this pop-up that should have been caught, but still a base hit for Posada, that's their second hit since the first inning in this game. The only other hit was a single to center by Alex Rodriguez in the 4th. Their other 2 hits both came in the first when they scored all 3 of their runs.
Man,
look out.
A little tardy on that fastball, wasn't he?
That's why they put that fencing in front of the dugout right now. And they go back to the first inning of this game. And that's really been the difference, is the defensive plays. You're going to play a low-scoring game. Derek Jeter doubled in the first inning, and Daniel Murphy gets a ground ball and thinks to go to third base, but double clutches, and it ends up costing him as they drive it around. Then he drops the double play ball there at first base. And talk about a 1-run game right here, and the Yankees defense has gotten it done, and the Mets have not.
Chuck to third, right. There's one. Castillo to first. Not in time. But no misplays.
No.
Just didn't have a chance to double him up.
Well, I thought Wright did the correct thing there, and that is take a little more time to make sure you get the runner at second base, because Melky Cabrera chopped that ball. It wasn't going to be a double play. Now watch, I think you'll see David Wright, when he catches this ball, he'll make sure. He takes a little bit of time, make sure he gets a good throw, but it's there. And Cabrera was not going to be a double play anyway.
Here's Brett Gardner, who was 0 for 2 with a walk, and Cabrera dives safely back to first base. Cabrera has 4 steals for the year. The Yankees base stealers have been primarily Brett Gardner, who has 17, and Derek Jeter, who has 17. Not bad for a 35-year-old guy. 17 steals, been caught once. Johnny Damon on deck, Jeter behind him. Too high from Francisco Rodriguez.
How about as a team, the Yankees 58 stolen bases, 9 caught stealing, highest percentage of success. Almost so successful they should run more, because I mean you can afford a little bit more risk than what you've taken.
Murphy on the bag at first with Cabrera. So maybe if you have a lot of power and you play in a new ballpark in which home runs are flying out of the yard,
you don't risk.
Maybe maybe it's just the right number of steals and the right percentage.
Because there are people in this game that I obviously disagree with that think that anytime you're out stealing a base, it's a bad play, and I don't necessarily agree with that.
and that is a ball. Although I talked to Sparky Anderson, and he told me that you didn't get thrown out very often. Joe stole 689 bases. You didn't get thrown out often, but he thought it was a bad play every time you got thrown out.
That's managers for you.
That's Sparky, yeah.
2-0 the count to Brett Gardner. There goes Melky. And Santos, too late.
Well, K-Rod, like most relief pitchers or closers, they do not hold base runners very well. He's actually opened up a little bit toward first base, and then he has to close, and then he has the high kick. So it's very easy to get a good running jump on him.
Santos out to speak to Francisco Rodriguez. Rodriguez had a record-setting year last year, 62 saves, an all-time record.
All right, watch how long it takes. He's closed. It takes him a long time to deliver the ball. He has the high leg kick, plus he's already open toward first base. He has to close and then release the ball.
In there for a strike. 3-1 now. Seems like Gardner's the guy you'd want to go after with Johnny Damon. Damon has become, I always thought of him as a leadoff guy, and he has been much of his career. But he hits with power. He's an RBI man. He's just an outstanding all-round hitter. 3-1. Check swing and a foul. Might have gotten a piece of Santos, the catcher.
Pitcher now with 2 strikes on Gardner. David Wright able to back up a little bit. Why is that important? Because Gardner's a guy that can slap the ball the other way, and it gives him a little bit more area to cover. Wright was in here trying to protect on the bunt. Now he's able to move back. It gives him more area to cover this way and this way in case Gardner tries to punch it to left field.
As we always talk about, the infielders are all moving back now so that they can keep the ball on the infield on a ground ball that may be going through the infield. You want to dive and knock it down.
It's a walk. So he has walked Gardner in front of the dangerous Johnny Damon. 3-2 the score. The Yankees are leading. Monday Night Baseball tomorrow night on ESPN at 7 Eastern. It'll be the Mets and the Brewers from Miller Park in Milwaukee. And then on Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice at 7 Eastern on ESPN, the Giants take on the Cardinals from St. Louis. ESPN News will be shown in San Francisco and in St. Louis. And apparently, Steve, you're not working the game tomorrow night.
I figured I'd take a day off.
Oh, man. And it's a ball. So who's going to do the game tomorrow night?
It's going to be Orel Hershiser and Dan Shulman. I think they can do it without me. I'm not sure, so I'm going to actually tune in just to make sure they can. I'll email or text them some notes during the game to make sure they're on top of it.
Johnny Damon grounded out to first in his only at bat tonight. He entered the game in the 6th inning as part of a double switch. He grounded out to first, and he pulls that one foul. High curve by Francisco Rodriguez. 1 ball and 1 strike to Damon. Mariano Rivera is in the game. This is something, it's really a treat for baseball junkies like us. We're seeing 2 of the greatest closers in the game today in the game at the same time. That does not happen. Closers only get used by and large when their team is ahead, which is generally only one team at a time. And that's a foul. But manager Jerry Manuel, the Mets not wanting to be swept by the Yankees, he's using his closer now to try to hold the deficit, give them their best chance to come back and either tie it or win it in their half of the night.
2 of the best closers. We talk about Mariano Rivera does it with that cutter. Well, Francisco Rodriguez has a fastball 93 to 95, but he has an exceptional hard curveball and a changeup as well. So he really has 3 put-away pitches that he uses. Typically goes to a left-handed hitter, to the changeup, or the hard curveball in the dirt.
2 men on, only 1 man out here in the 9th inning. K-Rod will try it again to Damon. Jeter on deck. There go the runners, and a foul off the left field line.
But again, you can see he gives you time to run, and that's what the Yankees are trying to take advantage of there, because you have a left-handed hitter up. Normally you do not steal third base with a left-handed hitter up. because it's an easy throw for the catcher without having to throw around the hitter. But he takes such a long time to lift his leg and deliver the ball, you do have a chance to steal a base.
They were running on the previous pitch. Not now. And the breaking ball in the dirt. 2-2 to Johnny Damon. Damon, 2 hits and 8 career at bats versus K-Rod. K-Rod, just like Mariano Rivera, broke into the big leagues in front of a veteran closer. In the case of K-Rod, it was Troy Percival. Jeter on deck, and the pitcher due up after Jeter, which would be Mariano Rivera, as K-Rod bluffs Melky Cabrera back to second.
Well, what you'll see, if they're able to get Johnny Damon out, then you can go ahead and walk Derek Jeter and force Mariano Rivera to hit, because you know he's not going to take Rivera out of the ball game, right? So what you have to do here, if you're K-Rod, just get Damon out and you'll get a chance to face Rivera.
So just get Damon out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it much simpler. 2-2 the count.
Simpler than getting Damon out and then getting Jeter out.
That's for sure.
Well, Mariano Rivera actually got an at-bat against the Atlanta Braves the other day and flew one out to center field, so he's at least got a chance to get in the batter's box and get a look at a pitcher recently.
Yeah, but he hadn't looked at that slider of K-Rod.
No. But they had told him in Atlanta, don't swing.
Right.
They figured only something bad could happen if he swung. He'd hurt himself, he'd pull a muscle, whatever. He's doing something that he never does.
It was only his second career at bat.
But he said, I couldn't go up there and not swing.
He's a competitor.
I can hit.
Well, he's a competitor.
And he hit one hard to center field.
They all think they can hit.
2-2 the count. 1 out, 2 men on. That one is smoked. And caught. Jeremy Reed on the run.
Well, the Mets show a little glove work there. Nice play by Jeremy Reed.
Reed just took over in right field in this inning. It had been Gary Sheffield, the 40-year-old veteran out there prior. So here comes Jeter. SportsCenter is up next on ESPN with John Buchagras and Stuart Scott. The one-on-one tonight with Mariano Rivera.
Well, first of all, they should have to have someone in the on-deck circle. That's a rule. Someone needs to be out there. No one's out for the Yankees. I guess they're trying to hide the fact that Rivera would be the next hitter.
Mariano has his helmet on. Now time is taken, and the shortstop, Alex Cora, is going to go over to talk to Francisco Rodriguez.
Well, they're trying to trick the Mets into thinking that they're sending another hitter out there, but you're not going to take Rivera out. So if you're the Mets, I mean, you have to walk him. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Warthen's going out to talk to him. You have to walk Jeter and pitch to Rivera.
Francisco Cervelli, the backup catcher for the Yankees, is the man who has come out on deck. So do you think Jerry Mangle is going to buy this?
Well,
They're going to take Rivera out of a one-run game?
Well, that doesn't make no. I mean, it's right there in front of you. All you got to do is walk it.
So they probably had to tell Mario, take that helmet off. We're trying to fool him here.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why they sent Cervelli out there trying to fool them.
See, in the American League, if you're a closer, this never comes up. You're in the game, and you're in the game, period. That's the only. In the National League, you might have to come up and hit if you come into the game in the 8th inning like that.
National League baseball is so much fun.
I can't believe they're going to pitch to Jeter. I can't.
You can't possibly pitch to Derek Jeter right here. You have to walk him.
And Jeter has hit K-Rod well. They are pitching to him. It's a strike called on the outside.
It does not matter how he's hit him or whatever has happened. You know that Rivera is not as good a hitter as Jeter is.
He can be 0 for 25. You still walk Derek Jeter right here and force Mariano Rivera to come to the plate.
I don't get it. They're not taking Rivera out, even with Cervelli in the on-deck circle notwithstanding. A ball and a strike. Well, maybe this is another one of those get to a 2-ball count and then walk him intentionally.
Yeah.
Which we saw in the 8th inning with Feliciano facing Teixeira, at least for a little while. And 2-1.
Well, even if they decide to pinch hit for Mariano Rivera, I want Mariano Rivera out of the game.
Well, now they're going to walk him. I don't understand the first pitch, throwing him a strike.
The Yankees do have activity in their bullpen.
Yeah. And
that somebody got up, play catch, and said,
right.
Hey, we're trying to fool him here.
Exactly. I mean, it's a 3-2 ball game. It's a 3-2 ball game. Well, no one was back there except Cervelli. It was not Rivera.
So even Jeter was bemused by this notion of pitching to him.
I'm not kidding you. When I used to walk to the plate, I would do that and let them know Perez is behind me. You better give me something to hit.
So here is Rivera, who had had one at-bat in his career until Wednesday when he got one in Atlanta, and now he's got another one here. Bases loaded, 2 down. And Rivera, in this at-bat, is facing one of the greatest closers in the game, himself being one of the all-time great closers. This never happens. One closer actually pitching to another closer.
Well, but you can't walk him.
No.
He's pitching around him.
He must have seen that at bat in Atlanta.
And that's a strike. Remember, they did tell Mariano, don't swing when he batted in Atlanta, but he just said he couldn't help himself and did hit a line drive out to center. 2-1 the count. Strike 2. And when does K-Rod ever face the opposing pitcher? The pitcher's always lifted for a pinch hitter if he's pitching the 9th inning. Sometimes pitchers have a hard time throwing strikes to other pitchers. 2-2 the count. He needs 1 strike more. Bases loaded. A mighty cut by Rivera.
I knew he would swing. I knew he would swing. He's not gonna. He's a competitor. He's not gonna do that. I mean, he was gonna swing. He's not gonna stand there and take 3 pitches for a strike. I mean, that's Mariano Rivera. He is, he's a competitor.
He didn't just swing. He swung.
I still can't believe this, because what if Jeter would have hit the first pitch?
I know.
Yeah. 2-2 the count to Rivera. The bases are loaded. It's ball 3.
And I actually think that swing is what got him to overthrow that last fastball.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not going to lay it in here, because he did take a mighty cut at the other one.
All 3 runners take off. And he has walked in a run. Francisco Rodriguez has walked Rivera to force in a run, the first RBI in the career of Mariano Rivera.
Well, facing the opposing closer, Francisco Rodriguez, missing with a fastball away. Kind of throwing across his body a little bit, trying to be too fine, throw to the heart of the plate. Gets a 2-1, comes back into the zone 2-2. That swing right there, I agree with you, Joe. I think it caused him to overthrow, go up in the zone, and he walked him.
Now Teixeira. And the changeup misses. Now he's got to face a guy who actually gets paid to hit, and gets paid a lot. Unlike Rivera. And the Yankee fans with the Let's Go Yankee cheer as they try to take over Citi Field. Change up. Teixeira, 2 hits in 19 career at-bats to K-Rod. And the Yankee dugout reacting to that ball 4. Well, that was...
Actually, I saw Sabathia there, and he was the most amused of the whole group.
That was top-notch primetime entertainment for the Yankee dugout, that's for sure.
That's why I love interleague play. These two-team cities, these sorts of events for bragging rights and people talking about it the next day at the water cooler. This is pretty amazing stuff.
Well, I think if you're K-Rod, you got to compose yourself because this game is not over. But one more bad pitch and it could be over.
2-2. The Mets bullpen, you saw Dan Worthen on the phone to the bullpen. And Bobby Parnell, the right-hander, has started to throw. Gardner at third, Jeter at second, and Mariano Rivera, just now the proud owner of a Major League RBI at first. And that was the 36th pitch of the inning thrown by Francisco Rodriguez. The Mets, unlike the Yankees, have a game tomorrow in which they might considerably need Francisco Rodriguez to get a save.
Have to get on a plane after this game and fly to Milwaukee.
The Mets will have Castillo, then Reed, who entered in the double switch at the start of this inning, and then Murphy due up third in the inning. David Wright would be due fifth. Now it's a full count again. Remember, the first batter of the inning was Robinson Cano, and he had what looked like a routine pop-up into shallow center, and Cora and Castillo both started out after it, and then both stopped. Nobody went out to catch it. It fell for a hit. That began this, and in fact it was Posada, I beg your pardon, Jorge Posada hit the pop-up. That got this nightmare started for K-Rod. Runners go. Did he swing? Yes. Third base umpire Chris Guccione rings him up.
And Teixeira was taking his base.
So Mariano Rivera, who has done so much in his brilliant career, has a first. He helps him his own save attempt with a run batted in, much to the amusement of Jeter and his Yankee teammates. And that was ball 4 with the bases loaded. And Rivera's first career RBI, and his Yankee teammates led the cheering. And for the Mets, Jerry Manuel says, "Are you kidding me?" And for the Mets, more misery up till now. They've got their last hacks here against Mariano Rivera, who is 3 outs away from his 500th career save. and now has a 2-run lead with which to work. And he would be getting his 500th save on a night when he got his first Major League RBI, if in fact he does get the save. Here is Luis Castillo and the cutter, and that misses somewhere for ball 1. Mets pitchers have walked 11 Yankees. The Yankees have 4 runs on 4 hits. The Yankees received 9 walks in these last 4 innings. Castillo shows bunt, takes a called strike. Castillo has grounded out, singled home a run, and walked.
Well, for a Mets team that's undermanned offensively, you can't give the other team extra outs, which they've done, and extra base runners with the base on balls, which they've done. You can't play winning baseball that way.
And the cutter up and in. Castillo lays off, and it's 2-1. So it's a 2-run game. Plus K-Rod just threw a huge number of pitches, 38 pitches in the inning, and they have another game tomorrow. And ended up allowing a run. He walked 3 in the inning. Half swing, and he chased ball 3 to make the count 2-2. Trying to check his swing, and then halfway through, but it was too late. The ball glanced off the bat.
For Jerry Manuel's sake, I'm glad for him that one of the 3 pitches that Francisco Rodriguez threw to Derek Jeter didn't get hit to the outfield, because they had no business throwing a single pitch to him anywhere in the strike zone.
This is right to Cano. 1 away. Now Jeremy Reed will come up. Well, the priceless reaction shot of Jeter after they threw that first pitch for a strike, with a smile and then a quick glance with his eyes back behind him, as if to say that you don't know who's actually going to come up next. You don't know.
Well, everybody tried to trick him. They got Cervelli up. They got somebody throwing in their bullpen. They had all those things. They were trying to trick the Mets into thinking that they might pinch hit for Rivera, but they had no chance of that happening.
Jeremy Reed up for the first time, and he takes a called strike. Former Seattle Mariners outfielder, hitting .286. He is a singles hitter who rarely walks. Only 4 walks. He's had 77 at bats. They need a base runner. Shows bunt and takes up and away, as A-Rod was actually playing deep at third base.
So he had a chance to drop it down if it would have been in the strike zone. Now A-Rod moves in, of course.
A-Rod even with the bag now. 2 balls and a strike to Reed. Daniel Murphy on deck. Sprayed foul. 2-2. What a crazy last few innings. The Mets pitchers. Levon walking 3 in the 6th. Feliciano and Green out of the bullpen walking 3 in the 8th. The Yankees not scoring in either inning. And then K-Rod walking 3 after a pop-up that should have been caught. Went for a hit to start the inning. And 9 walks in that 4-inning period. And one of the walks finally was the only reason the Yankees scored any runs at all in that stretch of charity by the Mets.
The problem is, when you're undermanned, you have to play a perfect game, so to speak. And the Mets are not doing that.
The cutter came back over the outside. Strike 3 called.
And they made errors in the 2nd inning of the game on Friday night. Misplays yesterday. I mean, they're just making mistakes out there.
Mike Winters called that a strike. Jeremy Reed wasn't so sure.
2 down. Mariano Rivera in his previous save in Atlanta, 4-out save, struck out all 4. And that's a strike to Daniel Murphy. Rivera had never gotten 4 outs and had 4 strikeouts in his career until the game in Atlanta. He's had 2 strikeouts amongst the 3 outs he's gotten tonight. Did he swing? Yes, says Chris Guccione, the third base umpire.
Now that's the cut fastball at its best right there. Starts on the inside, looks like a fastball there, and then it just moves late off the plate inside, and you can't check your swing.
1 strike away is Mariano Rivera from his 500th save. And that is a base hit to left field for Murphy. Mets are still alive. Alex Cora coming up with David Wright moving out on deck.
Mets have to just hope they can get David Wright to the plate.
So there's Wright on deck. Cora has been hit by a pitch. He's walked, he's grounded out and struck out. Cora 2 hits in 7 career at-bats against Rivera. And that should do it. There is Cano to Teixeira. The 500 save for Mariano Rivera. The second in history to reach that plateau.
And all of his teammates are coming out of the dugout, John.
And Derek Jeter, who has been